Hi, I'm Jack Canfield, and we're very excited to welcome you to Tapping into Ultimate Success. I know you're here because you've made a commitment to your success and to creating fabulous results in every area of your life. And we want to support you by demonstrating techniques that we know are powerful, cutting-edge ways to overcome obstacles, so you shortcut the time and the effort that it takes to skyrocket your results. You know, you may have heard of these techniques before as tapping or meridian tapping, or you may know them as EFT, emotional freedom techniques. You know, I've had a very successful life. You know, with the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, we sold over 500 million books. Then I did a book called The Success Principles, which has now sold over 750,000 books in 17 languages. I conduct workshops all over the world. I was in the movie The Secret and 11 other movies that have happened since then, including the Tapping Solution, which is about tapping. And even with all this success that I've enjoyed, this is one of the most powerful methods I've ever seen to overcome obstacles to success. It's really fascinating and very powerful, and we're glad you're here. Now, Pamela, I want to introduce my partner, Pamela Bruner. Pamela is a success coach. She's an expert in tapping techniques. She built a very successful career as a musician, recorded over 20 albums, and then decided to become a coach. But she struggled to make that coaching business successful. However, once she developed and started using the tapping techniques that we're teaching you today to overcome her fear of sales and marketing, she built her business from $0 to $1 million in just 2 years.
We are delighted to bring this work to you. I want to share with you an illustration of why this work is so important and effective. Now, most motivational work gives you strategies so that you're both educated and inspired to take action. And those strategies are supposed to enable you to take action so you'll get results. For most of us, there's a barrier between knowing the strategy and taking the action. You can think of the barrier as a very high set of mountains. Those mountains are made up of your beliefs, both conscious and unconscious. Taking action on any strategy when you have that barrier in the way is like having to climb over a huge mountain range to get your results. Let me give you a specific example. Let's suppose you need to make a phone call. Maybe you have a business and you need to call on prospective customers. Or maybe you just want to pick up the phone and invite somebody on a date. If you have beliefs like, he'll think I'm being pushy, or I'm so afraid she'll say no, you're going to have a hard time picking up the phone. You'll procrastinate, you'll avoid taking action, you may try to talk yourself out of it. Even if you do finally pick up the phone, you won't be as effective as you could be. You may stammer, you may stutter, you may come with this energy of, I know you don't really want to talk to me, and it's just not effective. It's as though you have to climb over this huge mountain in order to get your results. Now, a lot of motivational work is designed to help you climb those mountains. Let's give you climbing gear. Let's give you ropes and pythons. What if the mountains just went away? That's what tapping into ultimate success can do. In this work, we illustrate how to use the tapping techniques to implement many of the 64 success principles that Jack wrote about in his best-selling book, The Success Principles. Those ideas are so powerful, you'll want to implement them to achieve ultimate success. But they only work if you take action on them. And that's where this work comes in. In addition, a real strength of this book and DVD is its flexibility. You can use this work to implement any success strategy and overcome any obstacle you have to success. You can reduce or remove emotions that may be stopping you, like fear, anger, jealousy, or guilt. You can turn around your doubts and limiting beliefs and create new, empowering thoughts and uplifting emotions. So let's get started. Tapping is a simple, self-administered acupressure technique that can help remove your negative emotions and your disempowering beliefs. It certainly looks a little unusual, and you might be tempted to dismiss it as mere hocus pocus or suggestion. However, less than 200 years ago, it wasn't standard practice for doctors to wash their hands between surgeries because no one understood germs. Now, the first doctor to require the surgeons in his hospital to wash their hands, he was considered a quack. He got results, though. The death rate at his hospital dropped from 30% to less than 2% in 18 months. Yeah. Nowadays, we know that washing your hands is a simple way to prevent the spread of disease. So I imagine that perhaps a few years from now, we're going to have medical devices that can illustrate what we need to tap on. I don't know if it's true, but when we look at it that way, tapping is really just as effective as washing your hands. The most recent studies indicate that tapping interrupts the fear response in the brain. So when you think about something upsetting and tap, your brain gets retrained and restructured. You literally build new neural connections, so you no longer respond with upset, whether it's to a new situation or an old memory. Now, scientific research is adding to our knowledge all the time. What the studies are showing over and over is that tapping is really effective. In fact, some of the most dramatic results have come from working with war veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, that's not a group of people likely to be influenced by hocus pocus.
No, not at all.
Our suggestion, try it for yourself and see the results.
You know, the way it was easy for me to understand tapping is I always think of this metaphor of the dominoes. If you've ever seen these things on television where they'll take a gymnasium in a school and they'll take like 5,000 dominoes and they line them all up like this, and they tap one and all of them just gonna go like this forever. If you take out 4 dominoes anywhere in that line, this one falls down and the whole thing stops. Mm-hmm. And so what I've always experienced in doing this work with this is that it's like you see a stimulus, like a spider, or you think about getting on an airplane, and that's the first domino, and that then goes through a whole bunch of stuff in the body that then produces sweat in your hands, and your breathing's tight, and you're all scared and shaking. And if you can just remove a couple of those dominoes in that little neurological pathway, then what happens is the fear doesn't get activated, or the symptoms of the fear don't get activated. So if you think about tapping in the sense that you know, there's all the medical and scientific and neurological reasons for it working, which, you know, you can learn and study and understand. But for me, just that simple metaphor of, oh, we're just going to break this little computer program that says this, and now we're afraid to pick up the phone. And we just pull those out by doing the tapping, and bam, handled.
I love that. One of the things that we've added to tapping, in addition to what's often taught, is a system for transforming limiting beliefs and for creating positive, empowering new beliefs. You're going to see that as we demonstrate these processes. Now, the book and the video work together. There is lots more information in the book, and you'll need to read it in order to get a complete understanding of what we're doing. In this video, we're not explaining everything that we do in the detail that we do in the book. The purpose of the video is just to demonstrate the technique so you can see the tapping, and you can see it applied in a live, unscripted setting. You can watch the video first, or you can read the book first, or do it in sections. Just know that you're going to get the most out of this work when you've gone through both. I'm going to demonstrate the tapping points for you, and then we'll look at the simplest form of tapping. We'll deal in this video with 8 specific points. That's what you'll also use in the book. There are some other points outlined in the book, but 8 points plus the karate chop. That's all you'll need today. The first point that we'll work with is the top of the head. Now, if you draw an imaginary line over your ears to the top of your head, that's going to be the first tapping point.
Right there.
Right. Now, you can tap with either hand. Most people use their dominant hand, and I usually tap with my index and middle finger. Light tapping is fine. You don't get extra credit for heavy tapping. The next point is called the eyebrow point. It's right at the beginning of the eyebrow.
I like to do both sides with 2 fingers.
Oh, brilliant. I love that. Yeah, so you can do that.
3 Stooges.
That's right. The next point is called outside of the eye. It's right on the bony ridge in the middle. Yeah, so right here on the corner, right? Not all the way back on the temple, but right there. Right. The next point is called under the eye. And if you feel the bone, you'll actually feel a tiny notch right in the middle there. And that's where you want to tap, under the eye. The next point is called the under the nose point. It's between the nose and upper lip. And again, if you're tapping with 2 fingers, you're covering that whole area. Then the next point is the chin point, but it's not actually on the chin. So slide your fingers up to that indentation between the chin and lower lip. Okay? And then we have the collarbone point. This is a point that confuses a lot of people. If you put your hand on your throat, right where a man would knot his tie, you'll feel 2 bony protrusions right here. Go just outside and down from either one of them. Yeah. And I love to tap like this, again, to get both sides.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
what I do, but I'll use 1 finger.
Yep.
And the thumb.
So you can see that there are a lot of different little variations, but the important thing is tap lightly on the points. The final point, under the arm, about 4 inches down from the armpit, right here, You can, again, use one hand on one side of the body. You can do the monkey look if you want. And finally, in some of the processes, you're going to see me using the karate chop, the heel of the hand. You can tap right hand on left hand on right hand, either way. Now that you know the tapping points, the next thing you need to do is to look at how intense the feelings are that you're experiencing. So maybe you're annoyed thinking about that person who cut you off on the interstate, or you're mad at a family member, or maybe you're scared thinking about a proposal you need to make it work the next day. On a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is not even there anymore, and 10 is top intensity, how strong is that feeling? We call that the SUDS level, funny name. It stands for Subjective Units of Distress. And we use the SUDS level so we can measure our progress. Now remember, it is subjective. There's no right or wrong answer. It's how it appears to you. In the simplest form of tapping, we're going to combine tapping lightly on these points with making some statements. You're going to be giving voice to how you're feeling, and it might sound pretty negative. I always tell my clients, the only time you get to say all those negative things, blaming, complaining, sounds like gossiping, is when you're tapping.
You know, one of the things I've learned is you can't get rid of something by pretending it's not there. It's like one of my friends used the metaphor, if you're driving in your car and the gas tank's on empty, you can't just put a happy smiley face over the gas tank and pretend it's not on empty. You have to deal with the fact that you're running out of gas. And so the same thing is true here, that you have to give yourself permission to feel the anger, feel the fear. This is not a moment for positive thinking. It's allowing whatever it is that's in there that's blocking you or that you want to get rid of, whether it's physical or emotional or mental, to come up and get acknowledged that it's there. And then we can tap it so it disappears. You know, one of the reasons we write down your SUDS level, how strong the emotion is on a scale of 1 to 10, is that when you're starting with it, sometimes we find that it drops so fast that you forget it was even a serious issue. In fact, this happens often enough that in tapping that we even have a name for it. It's called the apex problem. Because you'll see people where they'll tap and then they'll go, oh, well, I wasn't angry. And they can't even remember it. It's disappeared. So by having that number, we can go back and realize you dropped from an 8 to a 0. And as I said, it happens so fast, sometimes we don't even realize how fast it is. In fact, they're going to see that in some of the demos that we have on this video.
Yeah, it's really extraordinary. Now, if you're so scared that you're shaking with fear, literally, or you're so mad that you're seeing red, you can just start tapping without noticing your SUDS level. But if you're working on something you're a bit calmer about, you're really going to want to make a note of this so you can track your progress. Another thing to be aware of is that many issues are made up of 2 or more thoughts or beliefs or emotions. We call these aspects in tapping. So when you're measuring your SUDS level, you want to be clear about what aspect you're working on. Are you angry or are you hurt? Well, if you're angry, are you angry about what he said, or are you angry that he didn't apologize for what he said? Now, these are different aspects. You want to make sure that you tap on each one of them, and you'll see this in the demonstrations. Sometimes when you're tapping and it feels like your SUDS level hasn't changed at all, it's because you've cleared one aspect, but another one has taken its place. So when you notice that shift, you'll be able to clear all the parts or aspects of a problem, and you'll really have the clarity that brings that ultimate success.
You know, one of the great advantages of tapping is what's called borrowing benefits. This means that if you're in a group or you're watching a video like this one, and you tap along with the demonstration, person up on stage or the person you're going to see on the video next, even if your issue isn't the same as the one that's being worked on, you may very well get relief on your issue. So if you've already become aware of an issue or an upset that you'd like to clear with simple tapping, we'll invite you to tap along with our tapping volunteer, even if your issue is different from hers.
When I'm working with someone as a practitioner, I'll usually make statements and ask the other person to repeat after me. Because I want to show you how to do this on your own, I'm going to prompt Maricela with the kind of things that she might say and mostly let her do this exercise herself. So a little word of warning here, and we talked about the negative already. People who are accustomed to personal growth work are going to resist saying the negative, or they'll try to distance themselves from their emotions, saying something like, I have this anger towards my boss, or have this anger towards another person. These are words that actually separate us from the emotions, and in order for tapping to be effective, you want to tune into the emotions. So don't try to be grown up about it. Instead of saying, I have this anger towards my boss, say something like, my boss is a jerk. And let those phrases get you in touch. Now, you're going to see, actually, at one point, Maricela says, "Can I cuss?" And I was just about to give her permission to do that when she went on without that. I want to let you know that sometimes, in order to get your emotions tuned in, you're going to use language that you might not use in another situation.
Well, I
That's
always
okay.
say, if you normally swear when you're talking and you feel like swearing in this, go ahead. If you don't normally swear, you don't have to make it up. Just
Right.
do what's normal.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. In this first demonstration, where we're working with Maricela, Maricela had an issue with her mother-in-law. She was angry with her for breaking a commitment. When Maricela's husband went off to Afghanistan, she was expecting certain things from her mother-in-law. So you see her very, very angry. And then just a few moments later, you see her enter a completely new emotional state of compassion for her mother-in-law. And the interesting thing is, this anger, although it was a specific event we were working on, has to do with 20 years of a relationship with this woman. So the change is actually very profound. And I want to encourage you, as you watch this demonstration, to recognize how gentle the shift is. We usually think that transformation like this has to be accompanied by jumping up and down and cheering and huge emotional turmoil. And in all of these demonstrations, people go from very intense negative emotions to relief. And it's very easy and very, very subtle, and yet very significant at the same time.
No, it's because you're a master, and these techniques are very powerful.
They are very powerful. Let's watch what happens when we work with Maricela. Let's do the simple tapping now. It's really good for removing an irritation, an anger, an upset, or a fear. And all we want to do is see if we can drop that intensity. Now, you had mentioned that you had an upset with your mother-in-law, I think. Can you just give me a sentence or two about that so we know what you're working on?
She had told my husband when he left to Afghanistan that she would be there to help, and she didn't.
Okay. Yeah. So I can
Well,
see.
she came for a day, and then she couldn't handle, so she left.
Okay. All right. So you were in an expectation of help,
Right.
and you thought there was a commitment to help, and then it wasn't there.
No, wasn't.
Okay. So when you think about that situation, what's the emotion you feel?
I feel angry.
Okay. And 0 to 10, how strong is that anger? Like right now in this moment.
Right now.
And if you
It's
think about
probably
it.
a 7.
Okay. Yeah. And as we tap, it may go up, it may go
Okay.
down, as you tune in more to it, or as the tapping starts having effect, and that's okay. We always just want to measure from this moment. So
Okay.
right now.
I think I'm a 10.
Right
Because
now.
right now I just felt like, no, I'm
Right now, if
angry.
she was in front of you, you'd want to punch her or something. Okay, so let's work with that.
Okay.
Now, if you were doing this on your own, you'd be making all these statements up. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to get you started, and then I'm going to prompt you, but I really want you to take off. This isn't something where I'm going to feed you what to say. I want you to do it, okay?
Okay.
All right. So tap the top of the head and just talk to me about how angry you are with her.
I'm angry, like why I'm angry?
Or I'm angry, what do you want? You'd like to punch her, you think she's wrong. What do
okay.
you, like, if you could say anything to her with no repercussions, what would you be saying right now?
I would say, you're a weak, ignorant woman.
Okay. Next point. What else?
Why did you promise something you couldn't fulfill?
Great. Outside of the eye. What else?
You didn't affect me, but you affected my children.
Under the eye. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What else? You're angry at her.
Am I allowed to use cuss words? No, I'm kidding.
Actually,
You're just a weak woman. You're stupid. You're ignorant.
under the nose. If you were on the phone talking to a friend and complaining, I know you don't usually complain, what would you say? This is the one time when
Okay.
you're allowed to complain because you're tapping.
I can't believe she did that to us.
On the chin. Good, go on.
I can't believe she made a commitment she couldn't fulfill, something so important when I needed her.
Collarbone.
What else?
My children don't respect her.
Under the arm.
It was a time I needed someone and she wasn't there.
The emotion isn't anger anymore, is it? And that's okay. Keep going. Keep going. Tap the head. If you can't talk, just keep tapping, and that's all right.
I deserve that help.
Eyebrows. What's the emotion now? Is it anger or is it something else?
I feel abandoned and unloved.
Outside of the eye.
Why'd you do that to me? Why'd you do that to my kids?
Under the eye. Good.
I'm angry at my husband that he didn't have the guts to call her and tell her something and tell her how upset we were.
Tap under the eyes.
I wish I wish I would have called her and told her off, and I didn't. And so I feel almost angry at myself that I didn't do that, and I still haven't.
Tap on the chin. So now we've got a lot of different issues going now, and that's okay. I'm going to pull you back to your mother-in-law, because
Okay.
sometimes what happens when we're working is that the anger at one person or the emotion drops, and then we recognize that there are other things, like I'm angry at my husband, I'm angry at myself. So if you go back to your mother-in-law,
Okay.
is it still a 10 with her, or is it more about other things now?
It's more about how she abandoned us.
Okay.
I think I feel this abandonment from her.
Okay, tap the collarbone. And how do you feel?
I feel like I've been her daughter-in-law for 20 years, that she should have done more.
Okay. Tap under the arm. Tell her that.
I've done a lot for you, and you didn't do anything for me. And you haven't done anything for me.
Tap the top of your head. And how do you feel about that?
I feel betrayed, or like she doesn't think that I'm worthy of her help.
And, okay, so right now what we've got is a bigger issue.
Okay.
It's not just about she didn't come after my husband left.
Okay.
It's now 20 years. Yeah. Can you feel the difference?
Yeah.
And that's not right or wrong. That's not bad. It's just you want to understand and notice all the different aspects of an issue, because sometimes when you start working on one, you can collapse that one, but if there are others, you need to finish with those as well.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So go back to she didn't keep her promise about helping after he left. And is it still a 10? Is it still anger?
I feel like a 6 about her not being there.
Okay. Tap the eyebrow. And what's the 6 made up of? What's that emotion behind the 6?
More of her being so weak and just couldn't handle.
Tap the outside of the eye. What's the emotion that comes when you are looking at her and saying you're so weak? What's that emotion?
I wish I could help her.
That doesn't feel like anger.
No.
Okay, tap under the eye. So what's that 6? Is it still a 6?
I feel 5.
Okay. Tap under the nose. What's the 5 made up of?
She'll never change, and that's who she is. And I can't expect more.
Tap on the chin. And what's the emotion behind that? She'll never change. I can't expect more.
I kind of feel sad because she's not there for us.
You see where you started with a 10 in anger, and now we're in a 5 in sadness. Things, not only has the number shifted, but the subject, the emotion has as well. Okay? Tap on the collarbone. What else would you say about that sadness?
She's not going to be there. She's sad that I can't rely on her when I need something.
Tap under the arm. And again, that's a bigger issue. It's not just,
Yeah.
this is the whole thing of your relationship with her, isn't it? Yeah. So now you've gone from anger to sad.
I kind of feel compassion now, like I feel sorry for her.
Tap the top of the head, yeah. So where's the anger? Is around this incident, is there anger left?
No, I feel compassion.
Okay.
I feel
Stop
like
tapping, take a deep breath. So that's just simple tapping, because there's so much more that we can do with it. We can go into a reframe, we can do some belief change, we can look at how to make an empowering belief and use some of the other techniques for that. Also, you're going to want to look at the other aspects that you mentioned. The anger at your husband for not talking to her, possible anger for yourself at not stepping up and saying, you know, I really need this help. Those are aspects that you would also want to tap on and work through. But for now, you started with a 10 anger at your mother-in-law, and now you feel compassion.
I do. I feel like hugging her.
That's extraordinary work.
It is.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thanks.
I think there's two other aspects that are in there too. One is this issue of abandonment. I don't think this is the first time you felt that in your life. So she brings that back up in you.
She does.
And then the unworthiness that I deserve support underneath that. And then you can step up and look to other people than your mother-in-law to get that support. So those are other aspects that also can be tapped on.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks. Thank you.
In order for tapping to be most effective, it's important to get specific about what you're tapping on. If you try to tap on, for example, I'm a failure, you won't get the results that you may be looking for because it's too global.
Think of your belief like a belief that you're a failure, or any belief, as a tabletop. It's held up by legs of individual beliefs or events that have led you to that global belief. Perhaps you had to repeat a grade in school, or you failed at a work project, or you didn't get into a college that you wanted to. All of those together, all of those events together, will make up the table called I'm a failure. So instead of tapping on the tabletop, what you do is you tap on and eliminate the legs under the table. Sometimes you just have to eliminate 2 or 3, sometimes you have to eliminate a dozen, but then the table actually collapses. Eliminating the table legs is the only way to really ensure that the tabletop collapses. If you just try to instill another empowering belief on top, what you end up with is a table with a new top, but the same table is still there underneath.
Table with a nice tablecloth on top of it.
That's right. That's right. So just affirming your limiting belief isn't true is not going to give you a true new set of beliefs. So we'll demonstrate more about this idea of getting specific in just a minute.
You know, one of the things I learned over the years is we have files inside, like your table. A file might say low self-esteem, and there's lots of documents in that file. So another way to think about this is you can't just throw the whole file away. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But you have to do with enough of the individual documents and either remove those or replace them with positive documents that say, oh, wow, I might have had this failure. Like I got cut from the basketball team when I was in school. Judy Graham decided not to go out with me when I was a senior. And I can have a lot of documents in there that say, wow, I'm a loser. But if you take those documents and remove them and you replace them with positive documents, then what happens is I get a new file that says, wow, I have high self-esteem.
Beautiful. Now, as powerful as simple tapping is, eliminating the negative sometimes causes a void. What you were saying about you need to put positive documents in the file. Sometimes you just get confused when that negative goes away. So what we're going to do is introduce a powerful new part of tapping. It's called the setup statement. We can take those negative statements, the events or table legs of your limiting belief, we turn them into the first part of your setup statement. So the format that we do this is even though, and then the problem. So even though I'm embarrassed that I had to repeat a grade in school. That might be an example of the negative. And then the second part is this positive affirmation. Now, original EFT, emotional freedom techniques, which is how many people came to learn about tapping, has a particular affirmation. It's this: I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So when we put those two together, we've got a complete setup statement. Even though I'm embarrassed I had to repeat a grade in school, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now that we've got that setup statement crafted, we're going to repeat it 3 times while tapping on our new point, our karate chop point on the heel of the hand. This affirmation is particularly good if you're feeling bad or guilty about something. It's not one we'll use as much when you're angry about someone else, but it's very good when you're upset at yourself. We'll use it to transcend a limiting belief. We're going to do this right now with Steve. We really enjoyed working with Steve. He had a limiting belief about himself that he was stupid because of the specific event that had happened a few years ago. And what you're going to see is how when we collapse that one event, he undergoes a pretty dramatic change in that
Very
limiting
dramatic
belief.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege of communicating with Steve a few weeks after this was filmed. And what he said was, it's held. He said it came up twice, and he said I did a couple of minutes of tapping, and it went away again, and I feel great. So let's watch this really dramatic change with Steve.
Steve, when we originally talked about doing this, you indicated that there were some things in your past that you were upset at yourself for, that, some financial decisions you had made, or something like that. So can you give us a sentence or two? Because I'd like to help you remove that upset with yourself. Would that be good?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Well, the one that I had mentioned was that we, a couple of years ago, our house was worth a lot more than it is now, as a lot of people are in that same position. But I had come up with the thought of either possibly paying it off with the savings that we had, or selling it and then buying another one cheaper, or buying it back cheaper. And I didn't do that. I didn't feel, I guess, strongly enough or confident enough in myself to go ahead and do that.
Okay. And how do you feel about that now?
I'm trying to come to terms with that and trying to use it as more of a learning experience if I'm ever in that position again, or something like that if I feel strongly that I need to be confident enough to move forward with that.
Now, that's a really adult way to look at this, and if you've already made that reframe, then you're probably good on this. But what I'm asking you is, in the dark night, when you're lying awake in bed, what do you really, are you really okay with this, or does it still bother you?
No, I have, I think, an issue of, intellectually I know that is true, but like you're saying, in the dark of night when I can't fall back to sleep or whatever, then those feelings come back, and they are hard to get rid of.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you, in the interest of actually clearing them for good, to go ahead and allow yourself to access them right now.
Okay.
Okay, so I want you to drop into that emotional feeling that you've been trying to push away, because the truth is, as we try to push it away, it doesn't really go anywhere. So when you look at that, tell me about the feelings about that. What do you say to yourself? How do you feel about that?
I feel, at some level, I think I feel like it's a bad decision, like maybe I've let myself down, let my family down. It's also hard because I'm in finance, and so I feel like, I should have known better.
Yeah, and when you said that, it seems to me that actually that's the key to it, that you're beating yourself up on 2 levels. One is it's something that a lot of people might feel, I wish I'd made a better decision about my house 3 years ago. But another is, I should really know better because I'm in finance, right?
Right.
Okay, and so when you think that, what do you feel? And don't be politically correct on this, okay?
No, I think I just, with everyone talking about it and family and friends and everything, I think I just kind of feel like, because I haven't really told anyone that, it's been sort of something I've kept inside, so kind of like a fraud or a phony.
Yeah. How strong is that feeling, 0 to 10?
9 or 10.
Yeah. Would you like to let go of that?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. I appreciate your vulnerability and being brave in this. Okay, so I need a statement about that really expresses this. I feel like a fraud or a phony because, or I'm angry at myself because. Can you give me that? Please say it.
Sure. I am angry at myself because I did not make the right decision.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll just know that that encompasses everything you just described. I'm angry at myself because I didn't make the right decision. And that anger is at a 9 or 10 right now.
That's 9.
Okay, perfect. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to use the original EFT affirmation. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So let me ask you a question. Can you say that right now and feel it? And actually feel it emotionally. Even though I'm angry at myself because I made a bad decision, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Is that something that you think you could say?
I can say it. I don't know if I'll feel it 100% right off the bat. But.
Okay. The other thing is we can modify that affirmation a little bit, like I want to deeply and completely accept myself, or I'd like to deeply and completely accept myself, if those would feel like something that would allow you to get into that. So let's do that.
Okay.
Even though I'm angry at myself because I made a poor decision,
Even though I'm angry at myself because I made a poor decision,
I'd like to deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I'd like to deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I am angry at myself because I made a poor decision,
Even though I'm angry at myself because I made a poor decision,
how could I be that stupid?
how could I be that stupid?
I'd like to find a way to love and accept myself.
I'd like to find a way to love and accept myself.
Even though I'm really angry at myself,
Even though I'm really angry at myself,
I don't like to admit it,
I don't like to admit it,
and I haven't told anybody.
and I haven't told anybody.
I feel like a phony and a fraud.
I feel like a phony and a fraud.
I'd like to find a way to love and accept myself.
I'd like to find a way to love and accept myself.
I'm really angry at myself.
I'm really angry at myself.
Tap the eyebrow point, Stephen. Tell me what you would say to yourself if you weren't with friends and family.
I think what I've been telling myself is how could you be so dumb? Why couldn't you have made a better decision?
Okay, outside of the eye. How could you be so dumb?
How could I be so dumb?
Under the eye. How could I be so dumb?
How could I be so dumb?
Under the nose. I wish I'd made a better decision.
I wish I made a better decision.
On the chin. How could I be so dumb?
How could I be so dumb?
Collarbone. How could I be so dumb?
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 Tap the top of the head. You're angry. What else do you want to say with that anger? What else expresses it?
Just probably like, why couldn't I have been smart enough to have made a better decision like some people did that I know?
Eyebrows. Why couldn't I have been smart enough?
Why couldn't I have been smart enough?
Why couldn't I have been smart enough to make a better, outside of the eye, why couldn't I have been smart enough to make a better decision?
Why couldn't I have been smart enough to make a better decision?
Under the eye, why couldn't I have been smart enough?
Why couldn't I have been smart enough?
Under the nose, why couldn't I have been smart enough?
Why couldn't I have been smart enough?
On the chin, why couldn't I have been smart enough?
Why couldn't I have been smart enough?
Collarbone, why did I have to be so dumb?
Why did I have to be so dumb?
Under the arm, why did I have to be so dumb?
Why did I have to be so dumb?
Okay, stop tapping for a second, take a deep breath. And look at that anger. Is it still a 10? It's okay if it is.
No,
What is it now?
it's 7.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
We're starting to bring it down now. Tell me a little more about the 7, because sometimes it's the same. How could I be so dumb? Why didn't I make a better decision? And sometimes the words shift as the levels change. Is it still the same or not?
No, I think it's still the same, but there's more of maybe a little slightly different feeling, that maybe that same feeling that I'm not smart enough, not just with this one thing, but in general, or good enough.
Great. Okay, appreciate that. Because often something like this, we take this one event as evidence for a greater belief system, right? We say that I have a belief, I'm just not smart enough, I'm not good enough in general, and here's the proof right here.
Right.
So actually, but if you want to change that whole belief of this is, I'm not good enough or I'm not smart enough, this is actually the way to do it. You want to go after those individual events that we call them the legs of the table, that are holding up that tabletop called I'm not smart enough. So going after these individual events is a great thing to do. So let's,
The other thing that jumped out at me while you're talking to, and you said, like other people I know, like they made the right decision, but I didn't. That
Right.
comparison is part of what's got you.
Yes.
Okay.
okay. So let's see if we can drop that 7 a little bit.
Okay.
Tap here. Even though I'm still angry at myself,
Even though I'm still angry at myself,
I'd like to find a way to love and accept myself.
I'd like to find a way to love and accept myself.
Even though I'm still angry at myself,
Even though I'm still angry at myself,
I might be open to finding a way to love and accept myself.
I might be open to finding a way to love and accept myself.
Even though I'm still angry at myself,
Even though I'm still angry at myself,
because I made poor decisions,
because I made poor decisions.
dumb decisions,
Dumb decisions.
and not as smart as other people.
And not as smart as other people.
I'm open to finding a way to love and accept myself.
I'm open to find a way to love and accept myself.
I'm still angry at myself.
I'm still angry at myself.
Don't expect me to give this up in 10 minutes.
Don't expect me to give this up in 10 minutes.
I made a really stupid decision.
I made a really stupid decision.
Other people have made much better decisions.
Other people have made much better decisions.
This is just more evidence.
This is just more evidence.
I make dumb decisions.
I make dumb decisions.
I know this about myself.
I know this about myself.
I make dumb decisions.
I make dumb decisions.
And this was one of them.
And this was one of them.
And I'm angry at myself for that.
And I'm angry at myself for that.
Because I want to be smarter.
Because I want to be smarter.
I'm still angry at myself.
I'm still angry at myself.
I wonder
I wonder
if it might be possible
if it might be possible
that anyone who learns from something
that anyone who learns from something
actually isn't that stupid.
actually isn't that stupid.
I'm certainly learning from this.
I'm certainly learning from this.
Okay, take a deep breath. Is it still a 7?
No.
What is it?
3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah, saying it out loud, it actually sounds a little silly.
Because you are actually pretty smart, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What would you like to believe instead?
That I made the best decision I could at the time.
Yeah. That actually seems like it touches you, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate your courage. Okay, that's down. Even though part of me still thinks it was a dumb decision,
Even though part of me still thinks it was a dumb decision,
and I want to beat myself up
and I want to beat myself up
to make sure I never do it again.
to make
You don't have to say it, just keep tapping. I'd love to love and accept myself. Even though part of me still thinks I made a dumb decision.
Even though part of me still thinks I made a dumb decision,
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that I could learn to love and accept myself.
that I could learn to love and accept myself.
Because I might have made the best decision I could at the time.
Because I might have made the best decision I could at the time.
Even though there's a part of me that's still angry.
Even though there's a part of me that's still angry.
I'd like to love and accept myself.
I'd like to love and accept myself.
Because I did the best I could in the time.
Because I did the best I could at the time.
Even though there's a part of me that wants to protect me
Even though there's a part of me that wants to protect me
by being angry at me,
by being angry at me,
to make sure I never do it again.
to make sure I never do it again.
That part's just trying to help.
That part's just trying to help.
And I can choose to love and accept all of me.
And I can choose to love and accept all of me.
I'm still a little angry.
I'm still a little angry. Excuse me.
I wish I hadn't done it.
I wish I hadn't done it.
On the other hand,
On the other hand,
I learned a lot.
I learned a lot.
Part of me still wishes I hadn't done it.
And part of me still wishes I hadn't done it.
Why couldn't I go through life just making smart decisions?
Why couldn't I go through life making smart decisions?
Maybe because part of life is about learning.
Maybe because part of life is about learning.
And I do like to learn. True.
And I do like to learn.
Yeah. I wish it didn't have to be so hard sometimes.
I wish I didn't have to be so hard sometimes.
But the truth about smart people
But the truth about smart people
is that they're always learning.
is they're always learning.
They don't know it all at the beginning.
They don't know it all at the beginning.
They learn it along the way.
They learn it along the way.
And so even though part of me thinks I made some dumb decisions,
And even though part of me thinks I made some dumb decisions,
the other part of me knows I'm smart
the other part of me knows I'm smart.
because I'm continuing to learn.
Because I'm continuing to learn.
And whether I'm smart or dumb,
And whether I'm smart or dumb,
or whatever I do,
or whatever I do,
I can choose to love and accept myself.
I can choose to love and accept myself.
Or I can choose not to.
Or I can choose not to.
But choosing to is a very smart thing to do.
But choosing to is a very smart thing to do.
Okay, take a deep breath. How's that anger?
I'd say it's a 1 or a 2.
Okay. What would it take to let it all go? Is there a feeling that you have to hold on to it? Because if you don't, you might never get smarter, or you might always make mistakes. I don't know if that's the case. Maybe there's something else.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just some feeling that I have to keep that.
Keep that edge.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to?
No.
Okay. Because if you did, it would be okay. But no, not particularly?
No.
Okay. Let's do another round.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to switch from original EFT into a choice at this point,
Okay.
because I feel like we need a choice here. So
Okay.
even though there's a part of me
Even though there's a part of me
that wants to hold a little bit of this anger,
that wants to hold a little bit of this anger,
because that's what smart people would do,
because that's what smart people would do,
because it protects them,
because it protects them,
I'm open to a new possibility.
I'm open to a new possibility.
Even though part of me would like to keep that anger
Even though part of me would like to keep that anger
and stay in a state of unforgiveness,
and stay in a state of unforgiveness,
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that the really smart thing here
that the really smart thing here
would be to love and accept myself completely.
would be to love and accept myself completely.
Even though I'm not sure I can do that,
Even though I'm not sure I can do that,
I'm open to the possibility.
I'm open to the possibility.
I don't know if I can let go of this anger.
I don't know if I can let go of this anger.
Keeping a healthy, skeptical anger, that's smart, right?
Keeping a healthy, skeptical anger is smart, right?
I certainly don't want to be dumb about this.
I certainly don't want to be dumb about this.
I've got to keep this anger, don't I?
I've got to keep this anger, don't I?
What if I could completely love and accept myself
What if I could completely love and accept myself
and let go of all that anger?
and let go of all that anger?
Would I make dumb choices then?
Would I make dumb choices then?
Or would I make really smart choices then?
Or would I make really smart choices then?
Coming from love and forgiveness and acceptance,
Coming from love and forgiveness and acceptance,
what kind of choices would I make then?
what kind of choices would I make then?
That anger is just really a protection mechanism,
That anger is really just a protection mechanism,
but I don't know that it serves me.
but I don't know that it serves me.
I wonder if I could completely love and accept myself.
I wonder if I can completely love and accept myself.
Thank the anger for its protection
Thank the anger for its protection
and completely love and accept myself.
and completely love and accept myself.
Take a deep breath. How you feel?
Much better.
How's the anger?
It's almost all gone.
Yeah, it feels like it's right between a 0 and a 1. Sometimes when we tap like this, I find that it takes a little integration time. Maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's a day. And then when you look again, the anger may be totally gone. Or you might find another aspect that comes up. Since this is part of that tabletop we talked about, there might be another event that you need to work through in order to completely clear that little part that's left in this one. So that's something that I'm going to send you off to do, look at yourself. But going from a 9, which I think is where we started, to less than a 1, pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, nicely
you.
done.
Thank you.
bet.
Good job. No, what happens is, I've been doing this work for 40 years, tapping only the last couple, but what I've found is everyone I've ever worked with always made the best decision they could at the time, based on the awareness, the skills, the knowledge, the tools that they had at the time. And so we can always look back and go, oh, I should have known better. And if you had known better, it would have done something different. Even if you knew better, there were some other factors in your environment or in yourself that you made the best decision you thought you could make at the time. You know, here I am, super successful, multimillionaire. I could list literally learning experiences that would go from here to the floor. And it was because of those that I became successful. So you are a learning machine, and you're learning now, and you learned then. And just to reinforce it for anyone watching this, you always make better decisions when you're not angry and when you're not in fear. So by getting into love and acceptance, your brain has the ability to function the way it's supposed to. And I appreciate your vulnerability.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good work.
Thanks.
You know, sometimes the affirmation, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, just doesn't feel right, or it doesn't seem to fit the scenario we're tapping on. For example, if I'm mad at my boss and I want to get rid of that anger, saying, even though my boss is a big jerk, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, it doesn't really make sense. Instead, we're going to use a different kind of positive affirmation, which we call a choice statement. And it goes like this. Even though my boss is a big jerk, I choose to find a new way to think about this situation. Now, what choice statement you create is up to you. But we'll suggest some powerful ways to craft them to get maximum results. What you don't want to try to do is go from furious to forgiveness in the space of a single sentence. It doesn't work.
No, it won't happen.
It's like the smiley face on the gas tank.
Exactly.
For example, if you try, even though I'm furious with my boss and he's a jerk, I choose to completely and totally forgive and love him, you're just not going to get there, not even with tapping. You'll suppress your anger, and it's going to end up backfiring. So we have a 3-step process, SOS tapping, so you can completely eliminate the negative emotion and then move forward with a new positive approach. The first S stands for simple tapping. We've already done that with Maricela. When you're upset at a level 8, 9, or 10, don't even try to create a choice statement. Just tap. Just tap and reduce that initial intensity. Now, once your SUDS level, your distress level, drops to a 7 or below, you're ready for a choice. The first choice I like to make is what I call an open choice. That's the O in SOS. The open choice doesn't give you a solution, but it opens the way, opens the door for you to have a creative, positive response to the situation. So here's an example of an open choice statement. Even though I'm really upset about this, I'm open to a new way to look at it. Or even though I'm so frustrated about this, I'm open to finding a powerful new perspective in this situation. Now, once your intensity drops to a 5 or below, then we can add a specific choice. That's the final S in SOS. Because you know what? It's much easier to come up with a powerful, positive choice that really works for you when your emotions aren't that intense. So here's an example of a specific choice. Even though I'm still a little frustrated about this, I choose to recognize his good qualities. Even though I don't know what to do in this situation, I choose to find a powerful, positive way to work with him. Now, the numbers don't always work out this neatly, and we'll see that in the tapping demonstrations that are coming. You may need to do several rounds of open choices before you're ready to go to a specific choice, or your intensity may drop from a 10 to a 4, and you don't need an open choice at all. It's not as important to go through all the steps as it is to go from upset to empowered.
You know, tapping can give you very fast results. However, don't be spoiled by the speed of tapping and get either frustrated or if something takes longer than a few minutes. Since new events will often trigger old hurts, you may find that clearing something that just happened requires you to go in and do some work with events from the past that got triggered. So it's worth doing that work.
We're going to return to Maricela now and work with her on another issue using the SOS tapping techniques. In this next demonstration, you're going to see her talk about a limiting belief of hers that she can't build her career as much as she wants. And we're going to use the SOS, the simple, the open choice, and the specific choice tapping to help her turn around that belief. It's really, really powerful.
I want to help you work on that limiting belief that you talked about. And we're going to use SOS tapping to do that. It's a process that's going to take you from that limiting belief through an open choice, that's the O in SOS, into a specific, more empowered choice that I think you would already like to believe, but you're not there emotionally yet, right?
Right.
Okay, so you want to state that limiting belief or fear that you have?
The limiting belief is that I won't be as successful as Jack Canfield or an Anthony Robbins because I'm a woman.
Okay. That sounds like something that would really hold you back.
Yes.
We want to get rid of that, right?
Right.
Okay. So how strong is that belief, 0 to 10? How true does it feel to you right now?
It feels like a 10.
Okay, thank you. And this is a great example of something that you may tell yourself over and over, well, that's silly, of course I can,
Yeah.
but you don't feel it here yet, do you?
Right, no.
Okay, so we're going to start off with simple tapping, which I know you know,
Yeah.
and we're just going to see if we can reduce that 10 a few points, okay?
Okay.
So tap top of the head. And you always are going to start by stating the negative. So there's no way I can be as successful as Jack or Tony and be a woman. Repeat.
There is no way that I can be as successful as Jack and Tony as a woman.
Yeah. I just can't be that successful.
I just can't be that successful.
Can you feel it?
I had to close my eyes.
Okay. That's great. That's what it takes to concentrate outside of the eye. I can't be that successful as a woman.
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 Under the eye. Right. I can't be that successful as a woman.
I can't be that successful as a woman.
Tap under the nose. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Is it true that no woman could do that or just you?
Just me.
Okay. On the chin. Another woman could do it, but not me.
Another woman can do it, but not me.
Tap on the collarbone. I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
What is it about, since it's just you and not all women, can you help me understand that? Tell me more about that.
My upbringing, my rough childhood, my lack of education, my lack of college. I didn't go to college.
Okay. But none of those things have to do with your gender. No one said it had to make sense, huh?
Oh gosh, yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I just want to zero in on this because when we're doing tapping, it's really important to be very specific.
Okay.
So is it really that you're a woman or is it something else? And it's okay either way.
I got, they won't take me serious.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because I'm a woman, but they won't take me serious.
Tap under the arm. Good work. They won't take me serious.
They won't take me serious.
Top of the head. They won't take me serious.
They won't take me serious.
Eyebrow. They won't take me serious.
They won't take me serious.
How strong is that feeling right now?
It's not very strong.
Good. Is there anything else that would keep you from being that successful?
The next one he said, because I'm a woman.
Okay. All right. Stop tapping for just a second. I won't be that successful because I'm a woman. Is it still a 10? Or is it
I'm confused.
still a level 10? And it doesn't have to be logical. Just look at that belief. I won't be that successful because I'm a woman. Is it still a 10?
No.
What's the number now?
It's like a 6, but then I feel like I'm confused because I'm thinking it has nothing to do with me being a woman.
Okay. And we don't need to actually sort out that confusion
Okay.
to
All right.
work on the limiting belief. We might be able to collapse it without even figuring it out. Wouldn't that be okay?
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right. So a 6 is a really good level to put in an open choice.
Okay.
We don't have to make a specific choice yet about what you want your new empowering belief to be, but we can create an opportunity for something to show up.
Okay.
Okay? So here, and what we're going to do now is we're going to add an affirmation, and we're going to add some tapping on the karate chop point.
Okay.
So the affirmation would be, we're going to combine your negative statement, I can't be that I'll just say that successful, meaning like Jack or Tony.
Okay.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
Okay.
And we're going to combine that with a positive, open choice affirmation. So repeat after me. Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
I'm open to a new possibility.
I'm open to a new possibility.
Does that feel good?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
I'm open to a new perspective on this,
I'm open to a new perspective on this,
even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I'm open to something miraculous and new.
I'm open to something miraculous and new.
Great. Now let's tap. I can't be that successful.
I can't be that successful.
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
They won't take me serious.
They won't take me serious.
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
There's no way I can be that successful.
There's no way I could be that successful.
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
I can't be that successful.
I can't be that successful.
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
I'm open to a new perspective on this.
I'm open to a new perspective on this.
I'm open to a brand new way of thinking on this.
I'm open to a brand new way of thinking on this.
I don't know what it is yet,
I don't know what it is yet,
but I'm open to something really new.
but I'm open to something really new.
I'm open to a brand new way to look at this.
I'm open to a brand new way to look at this.
I'll bet there's a new, empowering way to look at this.
I bet there's a new and empowering way to look at this.
I am open to something new.
I'm open to something new.
I am open to something new.
I'm open to something new.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
And I'm open to something new.
And I'm open to something new.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I'm open to a brand new perspective.
I'm open to a brand new perspective.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I'm open to an amazing new way to think about this.
I'm open to an amazing new way to think about this.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I'm open to something exciting and new.
I'm open to something exciting and new.
Great. Okay, take a deep breath.
I feel excited all of a sudden.
Is it still a 6? That
No.
idea that you can't be that successful?
No,
What is it now?
I feel a 2. I don't
Okay.
feel like it's completely gone. I just, the number I got was a 2.
Okay. And I love the way you said that.
And you're excited.
And I'm excited.
Let's see if we can put an empowering new belief in there.
Okay.
Is there one that you could see creating, now that you've created this openness, what would you like to create as an empowering new belief around this?
I can be as successful as I want to be, or
Love that. Okay.
Okay.
Is that the one you want? You sounded a little hesitant. so
yeah.
Let's
I'm
find
not sure.
something that taps in, sorry about the pun,
Okay.
to that excitement that you're feeling
Okay.
right now. What would you love to be able to state with conviction? Yes, that. What is it?
It would be, I just saw myself up on stage with 3,000 people in the audience and changing people's lives. So I don't know how to
Great.
put that smaller.
Actually, that's good. So I am successful enough to be on stage in front of 3,000 people changing people's lives.
Okay.
And that would be that kind of success for you, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So let's tap.
Okay.
Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
I can totally be on stage
I can totally be on stage
in front of 3,000 people,
in front of 3,000 people,
changing lives.
changing lives.
Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
I can see myself on stage
I could see myself on stage
in front of 3,000 people,
in front of 3,000 people,
changing lives.
changing lives.
Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
Even though I can't be that successful because I'm a woman,
I can see myself on stage
I could see myself on stage
in front of 3,000 people,
in front of 3,000 people,
changing lives.
changing lives.
And that's pretty successful.
And that's pretty successful.
I'm getting a feeling that that 2 is almost gone now. Let's tap here. I can't be that successful
I
because
can't.
I'm a woman.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I can't be that successful because I'm a woman.
I
You're
can't be-
frowning.
Yeah, because every time I say that, a voice says, "Oh yes, I can. Oh yes, I can."
The voice has changed.
It has. Yeah.
Is the 2 even there anymore? Do we
No,
need to go
no,
through this?
I don't.
No. You changed your little inner voice.
Yeah, because when I was saying, I'm like, "Oh no, but yes, I can. You know, yes, I can." So.
Great,
Awesome.
great. So sometimes it works like that. We can tap and say our affirmation, get our empowering belief in, and we don't even need to go through the rounds. And it's great if
awesome.
you're there.
Yeah.
So you can be that successful, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Talk to your new cohort here.
Welcome to the stage. You know, I don't know if you know this, but at 19, Tony Robbins was living in an abandoned car.
I know.
Didn't go to college. And when I met him, he was making $50 million a year. So whatever his background was, I doubt that it was any worse than yours. In fact, it may be, as one of my friends, Lisa Nichols, said, who was in the movie The Seeker, your mess becomes part of your message.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that literally gives you something to say. If I came from here to there, you 3,000 people sitting in front of me today, you can do that too.
Absolutely.
It's actually a much more powerful message.
That's true. Thank you.
Woman.
Congratulations, Maricela.
Thank you.
Great work.
Thanks.
This next technique is one of my favorites. It's great for turning around that little inner voice that criticizes you. Some teachers will tell you that you need to do battle with the negative inner voices and you need to try to eliminate them. But I found they're much more like employees who can't be fired. It's more empowering to consider retraining them and reassigning them. After all, they're pretty powerful. Having them support you rather than sabotaging you is going to help you succeed.
You know, every one of us has experienced this inner critic, you're lying there in bed, you shouldn't have done that, you should have said that, you're stupid, whatever. And it's really, you can't get rid of that inner critic, but as you're saying, we want to retrain it to become an inner coach. And all of us are walking around with voices in our head, our parents, our teachers, our grandparents, coaches we had, ministers, so forth. And those voices were all for you. They wanted you to do well. And your mother said, wear clean underwear in case you're in an accident, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of those things were useful, and some of them, like, don't speak unless you're spoken to, weren't so useful. They come in and they get in the way of our natural inner child coming out, and all the courage, the creativity that we have inside of us. So basically what we want to do is realize those voices that are in your head, they're no longer your parents' voices. They're your voice. You've, what we call in psychology, introjected those voices. And so we want to retrain those voices, as you said, reassign them. And so the process here is, how do we turn that inner critic into an inner coach?
Yeah. Those little voices, the inner critics, have one of two objectives. They're either trying to keep you happy or they're trying to keep you safe. They just have different understandings of safety and happiness that may not be in alignment with your current goals. If you can reframe the situation so that they understand happiness and safety in a new way that's promoting what you want, you're going to have these powerful inner voices supporting you. So I want to introduce the idea of continuous tapping. Up till now, you basically tapped a point long enough to say one statement or to repeat your setup statement 3 times. With continuous tapping, you're going to tap on a point for a bit longer. For example, while you have a part of a conversation. Don't worry about the right time to move from point to point. Just move every minute or so after you've exchanged some dialogue or when you feel ready to move from point to point. One final word about working with little voice tapping. You don't just have 1 or 2 little voices. In my experience, each person has many voices. It's like having an entire Fortune 500 corporation in your head. And it may seem, as you start to work with those voices, that you'll never be able to transform all of them. The good news is that after you begin retraining them, the corporate culture in your head starts to shift. The inner voices begin to notice that you're listening to them and working with them, and they become more willing to be retrained and redirected. So if you're noticing a lot of those little negative voices, know that you can shift the corporate culture in your head, and the rewards are well worth it. What we're going to see in this next section is 2 different demonstrations of little voice tapping. First, we're going to work with Kathy, and then we're going to work with Liz. And one of these is fairly straightforward, the first one. Then when we get to the second little voice demonstration, you're going to see a little more challenge in getting the little voice to agree. I actually love it that we've got 2 different demonstrations so you can see how different people react to the little voice.
Absolutely.
In both cases, though, both women were able to either quiet or shift what the little voice said so that it was now saying supportive things instead of disempowering things. Let's talk about this little voice of yours.
Okay.
Sometimes we need to say an affirmation or make some statement to hear the little voice. And sometimes that little voice just talks to us. Are you aware of it talking to you in a certain way, or do you want to make a claim and see if it responds?
It does both. It's a little annoying at times. I guess what I would say, if I use my affirmation, highly successful transformational success coach, and it's going, oh yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
The other times it comes out is when I'm doing something to promote myself, and it's scary out there. You're going to get hurt, so
Okay.
it's holding me back.
Well, and it might be the same voice, or it might actually be a different voice. So what we're going to do, no, more than one, I know. So let's go in and work on one of those. Which can you pull up more easily?
I think at this point, the one that wants me to stay invisible.
Okay,
Yeah.
so great. So go ahead and close your eyes as long as you're comfortable. Tap the top of your head. And what can you do to hear that voice? Do you need to make a statement, or can you just hear it?
No, it's just present. It seems to be the issue of the day.
Okay, great. What's it saying?
You have nothing to offer. Just don't bother going out there. It's scary. You just need to stay behind the scenes. There are other people who can be out there. Oh, geez. What's coming up is like, what makes you think you're so good?
Okay.
Yeah.
Tap the eyebrow point and take a deep breath.
Stopped breathing.
And ask that little voice, why are you telling me this?
Oh, wow. Why are you telling me this? And what I'm getting is this feeling that if I am different, then I won't be loved by my tribe, my family.
Tap the outside of the eye. Okay. And can you see a face with this little voice, or can you only just hear it? And it's fine either way.
Well, I associate it with my mother.
And it might be a voice that actually has the face of your mother.
Yeah, but it's kind of, I associate it with her, but I don't really see her voice when I hear it, but I know where it came from.
Okay. Tap under the eye. And now you've said a number of things that this voice has said, and I kind of want to narrow it down so that we're actually having a dialogue with the voice.
Okay.
Okay? So you said the voice said, don't put yourself out there, it's scary, and it sounds like there's some fear that, your tribe will reject you or something like that. I want to get really specific with the little voice.
Okay.
So I want you to talk to it, expecting it to talk back.
Okay.
So why are you telling me this?
Why are you telling me this? Oh, so you won't be alone.
Tap under the nose. Can you thank the little voice? Because he's trying to keep you from being alone, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not doing it skillfully,
No.
but trying. Yeah. And what's the reaction of the little voice when you offer that thanks?
I kind of saw his shoulders relax, seeing an upper torso.
Okay. Tap on the chin. And let's just clarify this. So ask, is it male or female, the little voice? Do you have an idea? No idea yet?
Okay, kind of,
Androgynous?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ask the little voice, so you're trying to protect me, you don't want me to be alone.
You're trying to protect me, you don't want me to. Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because then I'd be really different from the family and busy and away a lot, yeah.
So if you were successful, all these other things might happen to you, right? That might mean you're alone, right? That would be scary and dangerous because you'd be alone. Am I
Well,
understanding?
yeah, it'd be, I'd be off doing it on my own more, more than I have been.
Okay. Tap the collarbone. And then being alone is something, I take it, that you don't want to be, right? Is
Yeah.
that's a really scary thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
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 Okay.
Oof.
It's triggering some,
Yeah, it's
bringing some
triggering.
stuff
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Okay.
it's good.
You're doing
It's all
great
good.
work. You're doing great work.
Thanks.
So here's what I'd like you to do with talking to the little voice right now. Because you really want to step out in your career. There's a
Yes.
part of you that really wants that, isn't it?
A bigger part than the little voice. The little
Yeah.
voice is the foot that comes out and trips me up.
Okay. So is there a way that you could see for you to actually do this and not be alone? Is that possible? Is the part of you that wants this,
Can it see that as a possibility?
Yes.
Okay. So you would need something or someone to make sure as you pursue this path of success that you took the necessary action so you wouldn't be alone. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Tap under the arm. Do you think that that would be a good thing for the little voice to do? To make sure that you're
Yes.
not alone?
Yes.
Because this little voice is very, very good at noticing when you're alone, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes, it is. It
Okay,
is.
great. So close your eyes and talk to the little voice and ask it, would you be willing to support me in not being alone, but in a different way?
Would you be willing to support me in not being alone, but in a different way? Yes.
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 Great. Tap the
Yeah.
top of the head. Okay. And so what would that look like for you, Kathy? What would the little voice be saying or encouraging you to do that would help you both succeed and not be alone?
Hire the support I need. Really just look around me and see all the people that are there to support me.
Because you actually have a lot.
Yes, I do.
You have a lot of support in your life, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
To ask more.
Ask
Yeah,
more. Recognize that. Draw on it.
Yeah.
Would encouraging you to ask more be something this little voice could do for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He'd be very good at it.
Yes.
Wouldn't he?
Yes.
Okay. Tap the eyebrow point. So ask the little voice, would you support me in this way? Ask me to ask. Encourage me to ask.
Would you support me in asking to ask? Yes.
Okay. Tap the outside of the ear. What's the
The
laugh
laugh,
for?
I just saw that my little voice is making a list now of all the people that I
All
can
the
ask.
people that you can ask.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
When we look at these little voices as employees who can't be fired but can be retrained,
Yes.
they really want to work hard for us. Do you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah. And he's just been, I keep seeing it as a he. I don't know if
Yeah, well, let's do that.
he's just been trained in a way that is not consistent with your current goals.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Under the eye. And now you're retraining him in a way, it's just like a reorg at a company. You're just
Yeah.
retraining him. But you don't want to get let go of somebody that's that valuable.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Right.
Tap under the nose. So could you offer him gratitude again for being willing to be retrained and help you in this powerful way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just gave him a hug.
Tap on the chin. And how does he respond to that?
Very happy.
Yeah. So now are you still hearing that message? It's scary to step out there, you'll be alone.
No, there's a sense of excitement now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tap the collarbone. One more thing, and this is a little outside the scope because we were working on being alone.
Right.
When you think about asking for support,
Then I'm not alone.
and how does that feel? I mean, ask the idea of asking. Does it feel better than it did before?
It did. It definitely feels better than it did before. It makes it, I feel it's just like, okay, just no problem now.
Yeah, I kind of thought that might be a secondary benefit of this particular work that we did, is that in addition to getting over that concern about I'm going to be alone, it's now easier to ask.
Yes.
How nice is that?
That's really nice.
Right, stop tapping, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
That was really good work.
That was deep. Wow. That's good. Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So let's talk about the little voice inside you. Sometimes we hear that little voice when we say an affirmation, and then the little voice disagrees with us, like, I can make this amount of money, and the little voice says, you've got to be kidding. I don't know if you actually need to say an affirmation in this case, or if you've got a little voice that talks to you frequently.
I do have a very yappy little voice. Yes, I do.
All right. Is there a particular thing that it says that you'd like to work on today?
It's got a number of things it likes to say. You're a loser, you suck, you're not talented. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you're kidding?
Okay, well, that's a good start.
Yeah, right? That's enough.
Let's talk to this little voice. So if you're more comfortable closing your eyes, because I want you to tune into the little voice, and go ahead and start tapping on the top of your head. Okay, yeah, just take a deep breath and let yourself settle in. Okay. Can you hear that little voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Give me one line. What's it saying to you?
Sorry. You're a loser.
Okay. Can you see a face associated with this voice, or is it just a voice? It's okay either way.
Right now, it's just a voice.
Okay. Tap on the eyebrow point. That's great. Brow point.
Okay.
So you hear the voice say, you're a loser, right? Great. Would you please ask the voice, why are you telling me this?
Should I say that out loud, or?
You can do it either aloud or silently.
I'm sorry. Why am I?
Why are you saying this to me?
Why are you saying this to me? Because you are.
Okay. Tap on the outside of the eye. Yes, and why is it necessary for you to tell me this?
I don't know.
It's not giving you any answers
Yeah,
to
no.
that? Tap under the eye. Is there something that you want me to do with this information?
Is there something you want me to do with this information? I want you to look at it.
Okay, great. Tap on the chin. And now, how do you want me to look at it? What do you want me to do?
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I don't know. It's not really telling me anything.
Okay. Tap on the collarbone. Why do you think I'm a loser?
Why do you think I'm a loser? Well, because you say you're going to do all these things, and then you sabotage yourself. You procrastinate. You dilly-dally. You don't finish what you start.
Tap under the arm. So you actually want me to get some things done.
Yeah.
Great. Tap on the top of the head. Sounds like you really want me to be successful.
Yeah.
Great. Tap on the eyebrow. Liz, I'm wondering if you could thank the little voice, not for the way it's been talking to you, but for the intention of wanting you to be successful.
Yeah, it's not a wholehearted thanks, but
Okay. Give it a little thanks.
a little thanks.
Okay. And how does the voice respond when you give it that thanks?
It's smiling.
You can see a face now. Wow, and it's smiling at you. That's great. Tap under the eye. And would you say to it, you know I haven't appreciated you in the past, but I hear now that you're really trying to help me be successful.
Yeah, I can. Oops, sorry, did I
That's
move
okay,
too
you're
soon?
good.
I can say that, not completely convinced about it, but I can entertain the possibility.
Good for you. Okay. And tap on the chin. And what does the little voice say? How does it respond?
It wants me to. It does want me to be successful.
Great. So tap on the collarbone and tell the little voice, since you want me to be successful, I wonder if you would be willing to work with me in a new way, because the way you've been working with me has actually been causing me pain.
I wonder if you could work with me in a new way. This way it's causing me pain.
And what does the little voice say?
That's possible.
Okay, great. Tap under the arm. Now here's where you get to step forward, Liz, because if the little voice could say something else to you that might support you, for example, in getting those things done, what would that be?
Could you support me? It could acknowledge the good things, the things that have been accomplished.
Great. Yeah, tap the top of the head. Okay. So ask the little voice if it would be willing to acknowledge the things that you have done, because that's more likely to get you to complete those tasks than telling you you're a loser, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more. What's the little voice say?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Yeah, ask. Yeah, because this is hard work, isn't it?
trying to focus on this, and yeah, it's some very hard work. Okay, so ask the little voice, would you be willing to say something different to me, like acknowledge me for what's been done?
To be willing to say something different. Yeah, it would.
Okay, great. Tap on the eyebrow. So let's do a little test with this. Like, is there a project that you're working on now that you're about to complete, and has the little voice been beating you up about it, and now maybe it could encourage you, talk to you in a different way?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Tap on the outside of the eye. What would that sound like or look like?
That it's going to be awesome when it's done.
Yeah.
That it's that you should be proud of what you can offer.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, tap under the eye. And is the little voice willing to say those kind of things to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tap under the nose. And what's the little voice doing right now? Is it smiling at you? Is it cheering for you? What's it doing?
Yeah, it's kind of, sounds so stupid, but it's kind of got its hands on its hips like duh. Like,
Of course I want to support you.
yeah, like really?
Okay, tap on the chin. And can you now express gratitude to it? Can you see that it's been trying to help you all along? It's just been misguided.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? Because it's
Well,
like,
let's say really. I mean,
Yeah.
the tactics are so unnecessary.
look at it as an employee who got some pretty poor training way back when.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and now you're just retraining this employee, because you can't fire him, okay? You're just retraining this employee to support you in a new way. Make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, tap on the collarbone. And how does the little voice respond to this? Like, does he like that idea of being retrained? Because he's actually pretty powerful, isn't he?
Yeah, no, the concept of being an employee is not appealing to the little voice.
Okay, so what's the image that he would like?
Well, he thinks he's top dog, top boss.
Okay. But he does want your success more than anything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'm hearing hesitancy when you say that.
I think I want to believe it, but just, you know, I feel as if, like the tactics, as you were saying, it makes you question its motive sometimes.
Okay. So he's criticized you for so long, it's hard to believe he really wants to support you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's possible, but I'm not entirely convinced, I guess.
Okay, tap under the arm. What would convince you?
Just a kinder, gentler approach.
Okay. Ask him if he's willing to do that in support of your success.
Yeah, I think he could.
No, I'm not asking you what you think. I'm asking you to ask him
Right.
to respond to you.
So could you do that in a different way? Yeah, he's like saying, yeah.
Of course he can, because he's pretty darn powerful.
Yeah, like, yeah, pretty much I can do anything, so why wouldn't I be able to do that as well?
Great, great. Tap on the top of the head. So now I want you to think about that project. I want you to say, it's going to be awesome. And I want you to hear what that little voice says to you.
It's going to be awesome. He's like, yeah, of course.
Of course, he's now in support of you, isn't he?
Yeah.
No more loser. You're not hearing that anymore, are you?
No, he's like, it's, yeah.
Of course you're going to be great. Stop tapping. Open your eyes, take a deep breath. Listen for that little voice, you're a loser. Do you hear it anymore?
No.
Congratulations. Good job.
When we think about trauma, we usually think about something big, like an assault or a natural disaster or a very serious accident. But everyday trauma, what we call little t trauma, happens to us constantly. The challenge with trauma is that the subconscious mind responds in a very specific way. It downloads all the information at the moment of trauma and stores it as a protection mechanism. So suppose you had a parent or another relative or a third grade teacher who traumatized you with a little t trauma, perhaps just by speaking to you harshly or carelessly, or in a way that now as an adult you could cope with perfectly well. When that trauma is re-triggered, say by a spouse or a work colleague, studies have shown you respond with the same maturity, emotional and mental resources that you had at the time of the original trauma.
We've all felt like a 5-year-old talking to our spouse in an argument, or they trigger us with some weird look, and all of a sudden you're back in 3rd grade. I know exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So if you feel like you're responding to your husband or wife like a 5-year-old, or feel like a 13-year-old wallflower when you're asking someone on a date, or feel like a guilty 5-year-old in your office, and wondering why you feel so incapable despite all the personal growth work that you've ever done, that's why. Now, it's perfectly normal to respond in this way, but it's not very helpful to your success. So what we're going to do with this next technique is remove the trauma trigger, the part of you that's stuck in the past, so you can respond to events in your life as the capable adult that you are.
You know, most of us have had a lot of these little t traumas in our life. And so the question is, how do you know what to clear out? And as you experience upsets in your life, what I found is useful is, as you experience upsets in your life or obstacles that occur on your path to success, you might be feeling frustrated or whatever, just stop and ask yourself, what do these upsets remind you of? Can you remember a time in your past when you felt the same way? One thing that's really useful to do is simply to close your eyes, go inside, really focus on the sensations you're feeling in your body and say, can I go back to a time when I felt exactly the same way? And that physical sensation it'll act like a little guidepost or a little road map that'll take you back. That will point you in the direction of the events that you need to work on.
Now, matrix reimprinting has enough distinct steps that I'm not going to run through them all here right now. They're in the book for you to read and use. Instead, I'll demonstrate the technique with Eleanor, and you can refer to the book in order to learn the steps. You know, when I worked with Eleanor, she reported before that she had this feeling of being invisible, that people didn't pay attention to her. And she identified an incident from her past in which, as a 5-year-old, she was ignored or rejected, in a sense, by her 14-year-old brother. You're going to see her transform the memory of that event so that now she's no longer plagued by those feelings of invisible and no one wants to listen to me.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look.
I want to do some matrix reimprinting with you on that incident that you described from your childhood with your older brother. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting because when I was reading the questionnaire that I asked you to fill out for this, one of the things I noticed was that you said you feel unloved, you feel not valued. And then when you described that incident from your childhood, I saw a direct connection between that and those feelings that still come up for you now. Does that make sense? That resonate with you? So let's see whether taking care of that childhood incident has an effect on those feelings of being unlovable or unloved today. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing I want you to do is just in a couple of sentences, set the scene for me. So go ahead and describe what happened briefly.
When I was small, when I was 4 or 5, I don't remember how old, I used to adore my older brother, and he's about 10 years older than me. And I would always kiss him and hug him. And I saw it as a way for me to, wanted to express happiness in the family. And when that summer he went away to hockey camp, and we went to go pick him up, and I went running up to hug him and kiss him, and be my usual super loving and affectionate self, and he wouldn't let me do it because all his teenage hockey players were around, and he was embarrassed to have a little sibling pay attention to him.
Sure, at 14, yeah. Understandable now, but not to the 4 or 5-year-old, right? And how did you feel?
I think I felt mad. How dare he not realize it was a good thing that I was appreciating him so much. and I can't remember. I felt not appreciated.
Okay. And how you feel about it now, even recognizing that it's not surprising for a 14-year-old, may be a little different than you felt at the time. So I actually want you to close your eyes and sort of sink in and think back to that memory and just see what kind of charge or emotion that brings up when you think about that. Can you feel the pain of the little girl? Are you feeling
It
anything?
actually was embarrassment.
Embarrassment.
Yeah.
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 It's interesting when we go
Embarrassment.
back that the emotions, when we really sink into the memory, may be even different than our emotions are of it now.
Yeah, it was humiliation.
Humiliation. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a strong word. Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Want to clear that out?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So close your eyes, tap the top of the head. And you said this was at a hockey camp that he was at? Okay. And where was it? Was this in a parking lot? Was this in a...
Right at the rink.
At the rink.
They just finished playing a game, and they're all coming off the thing. I was super excited. He's like my hero because he's super talented. And, you know, everybody loved him. I loved him.
Can you see the rink right there in front of you?
Yeah, I can smell it.
And are you in your, I'm just going to say 5-year-old. Are you in your 5-year-old body, or are you looking at yourself as a child?
Oh, I actually wasn't either. I was kind of standing there just as me.
Okay.
But no, okay, I'm in my 5-year-old body.
Okay, tap the eyebrow. And can you pull back out so that you're looking at yourself at that age?
Yep.
Okay, great. Tap the outside of the eye. Can you step into the rink as you are now as an adult? Can you step into that scene?
Yep.
Great. Okay. Tap
But me and the little...
Yes, you and
both
the
of
little
us.
girl. Both of us. Both of you.
Okay.
Mhm. Tap under the eye. Okay. So now what I want you to do is, has this already occurred? Has she run up and hugged him, or has that yet to happen?
No, she's getting ready.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and let her do that? And then,
I think my mom actually pulled my... He made faces, and I think she's pulling my arm back and saying, well, no, maybe don't do that, or I don't know.
okay. So you're seeing the little girl do what? Being pulled back by her mom right now?
Sure, yeah, I'm not really sure, but yeah.
Okay. Tap under the nose. Some people visualize things differently. Sometimes we think our way through visualizations, and sometimes we actually see them. And it's okay either way. Neither one of those is right or wrong. Okay. Now, is the 5-year-old you, and were you called Eleanor at that time? Or?
Boo-boo.
Boo-boo. Okay. Tap the chin. So is Boo-boo now feeling that embarrassment and humiliation?
Not
Was
yet.
she mad?
Not yet. I think I may have hugged him, actually, and he just was really embarrassed and didn't, I don't know, push away or something.
Okay. So where is she now? What's going on with her?
Just feel embarrassed, like I did the wrong, you know, I embarrassed him, and so I feel embarrassed, like I did it was inappropriate, you know, didn't do what he wanted me to do.
Okay, I want you to separate yourself from the little girl, though.
Okay.
So is she feeling embarrassed and you're watching? You may also be feeling embarrassed for her. But can you separate yourself from her? Okay, great. So what's going on with her?
Well, actually, this common thought I had as a child, like, this family is stupid, it's screwed up. How did I end up with this family? They're idiots.
Okay, tap the collarbone. And what I want you to do is I want you to freeze the scene so that only Boo-Boo and you can see each other and talk to each other. Everyone else is frozen in time. Can you do that? Great. So go over to her and tell her you know this really cool game and ask her if you can tap on her.
Okay.
What does she say? Is she okay with that?
Yeah, she's a little distracted, but yeah.
Tap under the arm. So go ahead and, in your mind, as you're tapping now on yourself, I want you to envision tapping on her, okay?
Oh, she's ticklish.
Let's tap on the top of the head then. Let's not get her too ticklish. And ask her how she's feeling.
She says it feels good. She likes it.
She likes the tapping?
She actually likes me. She's thinking of giving me a hug and a kiss now.
How does she feel towards her older brother right now? Or towards her family? And she can give you a hug and kiss if she wants.
Maybe just she feels they're okay. She's just feeling disappointed.
Okay. Tap on the eyebrow. Can you tell her it's okay to feel disappointed? It's not surprising to feel disappointed.
Yeah.
And how does she respond to that?
No.
Tap the outside of the eye. What's going on in the scene?
She's kind of moved on pretty quick. I mean, other than she's kind of decided, well, to heck with him. I don't know if she decided right then and there, but she did decide to transfer her affections to the older sister.
Mm-hmm. What did she decide about herself in that moment?
A whole bunch of, I don't know, I have a whole bunch of thoughts. Like people
Okay,
don't.
hold on a second, because I don't actually want you to guess. I want you to ask her.
Okay. I'm too much. I'm not. I have too much life, energy, love. You know, they
Tap under the eye.
they don't know what to do with it.
And they don't know what to do with it. Yeah. Is that the kind of thing she's saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Great. Tap under the nose. And how does that make her feel? She has too much love, too much life. They don't know what to do with it. How's she feeling about that?
A little stagnant, disappointed.
Now, stagnant's not a word that a 5-year-old would use. Ask her.
I
how
was
she-
an unusual 5-year-old.
I will believe that.
Okay.
Tap on the chin. So I want to know what she.
Just ask the question again, please.
How are you feeling right now, Boo Boo?
I don't know what the words are. This mostly just disappointed, yeah. Disappointed because, you know, he's having fun with the game. I'm expressing furthering of the excitement of everybody cheering for the game. And I don't have any way to express the enjoyment of it, the fun, the appreciation and happiness about it. And so I'm not significant. The way I'm doing it's not right.
Now you've got it. Now you're tuned in, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tap the collarbone. Good job. Good job. So what do you know, Eleanor, now, as an adult, that you can share with Boo Boo to help her? Do you have something that can help her?
I think, well, the main thing I would just tell her is like, you know what, it doesn't matter. Just keep doing it, and, you know, that's just their problem. And they like it anyway. You know, they like what you're doing. You just keep being yourself.
Because actually her 14-year-old brother would probably like it if he weren't surrounded by his hockey friends, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She can do whatever she wants in this moment. So I want you to, in the rink, I want you to imagine reaching in your back pocket and pulling out a magic wand and give it to her.
She really likes
She
that.
likes the magic wand, doesn't she?
Yeah, like she's starting to point it at a lot of things. Just bing, 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 bing.
Tap under the arm and ask her if she'd like it if her brother hugged and kissed her back like he always likes to when he's not surrounded by his hockey buddies. Does she want that? Would she like
Yeah,
that?
she would like it actually to be put her up on his shoulder and, carried her like a trophy because he's happy about winning the game too.
She can wave the magic wand and have that happen.
Yeah.
Does she want to?
I think she already did. We're already marching through, and she's actually got the wand, and she's like waving it around.
That's great. That's great. Tap the top of the head. How's she feeling now?
She feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she feels good.
You can tell. Do you need to ask her? Ask her. Does she feel loved?
Yeah, she does.
Does she feel appreciated?
Yeah,
Like
she
she's
does.
valued for her contribution?
And it feels like the key, though, was for her to just decide that, to just, be it anyway and not take as a cue out people's reactions. She just kind of went, oh, no, wait a second, I'm in charge here.
Great. Tap the eyebrow point. And ask her if there's anything else she wants from you right now.
Yeah. She said just that she'd like me to hang out with her and just, be there.
Hang out with you just now or anytime?
All the time.
All the time.
Just.
Are you willing to do that? Like, are you willing to say to her, I will be there when you call for me?
Yep.
Yeah. So tell her that. Anything else she wants from you right now?
Yeah, she just wants me to remind her to just be herself and not worry about that, most people are a little stuck, and that just be yourself and you're the leader. You're the leader.
You're the leader. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Tap under the eyes. So now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine beginning to make the journey back. You were decades in the past, and now you're coming back. Don't come all the way. Come to a point where you're in the field, in the matrix, where everything is energy and you are outside of time. Can you imagine that? Tap under the nose. And now I want you to imagine who you would be today if that had happened. If a woman had shown up and given you a magic wand, and your brother had lifted you on his shoulders and taken you around the rink, celebrating the win. Can you see that? I want you to take that picture of Boo Boo, of you on his shoulders, marching victorious around the rink. I want you to take that in as an image through the top of your head and let it come down through every cell of your body. Tap on the chin. And then I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to exhale that image out through your heart into the world around you, becoming your new reality. Tap on the collarbone. There's one more thing I want you to do before you come back. I want you to look with your awareness for the woman who always promised she would be there and tell you that you're the leader. She's still there. Can you feel her? Does she have anything to say to you right now? Tap under the arm. And when you're ready, come all the way back to the present. Take a deep breath. When you think about that incident in your childhood, does it still look the same way it did 10 minutes ago?
No.
What's the memory of it? Sometimes memories shift. Like we'll literally remember the new memory you just put in, or it will feel like it's behind a cloud or a screen or something. Is there anything that shifted with you around that?
I think I'm on his shoulder, and everybody's celebrating.
So you see the new memory now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about whether you're lovable or whether you're important, how does it feel? Has it changed?
Yeah, and mostly what I'm aware of now is that everybody's been loving me all along, and it wasn't me being able to receive it because it was all my thoughts about
it not
Yeah,
being
so
there.
it feels like, there's plenty of love.
Well, there.
Yeah.
Beautiful work. Great realization.
Yeah.
That the love was, you don't even have to work for it. It's
Yeah.
already there.
I'm
All you
getting
need to
better at
do
receiving
was
it. Yeah.
drop the shields.
Yeah, I accept myself.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really good work.
Sometimes we can be more aware of sensations in our bodies than we are clear in our thoughts. And when you're focusing on some issue or event that gives you a certain bodily sensation, we can actually use tapping to clear the sensation and often the issue without necessarily even knowing what the thoughts are behind it. That will disappear as well.
This is great for people who tend to be more kinesthetic, who are more oriented to feelings than to words or visual images. One of the important things to remember about sensation tapping is, like any other tapping technique, you're not trying to change or force the sensation. You're just observing it and letting it change on its own. Sometimes sensations will move to other parts of your body, they'll shift around, or they'll change as you tap. So we'll just follow the sensation and keep tapping on whatever is still present. You're going to see us do this now with Dina. Dina came with a particular fear that she experienced in her body as a sensation. Dina said she's very kinesthetic. She often uses feelings and she has sensations in her body. So sensation tapping is perfect for her. What you'll see in this demo is very interesting. It didn't turn out the way either one of us expected it to. We were both looking, I think, for the sensation to diminish or evaporate, and instead it transformed so that she had power in the situation. But anyway, let's watch.
Okay, good.
Dina, you were telling me that you were watching the other volunteers that we've been working with and tapping along with them, even though your issues aren't exactly the same as theirs. And what have you been experiencing?
Well, it surprised me, actually, because I was more just a little nervous for my turn, so I wanted to kind of get my practice in. But while I was tapping along, even though it wasn't my issue, I was really getting into what they were experiencing, and I was experiencing relief and release as well. So I think it's highly effective to tap along, even if it's not, you know, an issue that you're experiencing.
Excellent. I'm glad you're having that experience.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
So now let's work with you on your issue of sensation tapping. What I want to do with sensation tapping is we're going to drop into the body. Often with tapping, it's fairly intellectual, it's verbal, and we're dealing with our words and our thoughts. And in sensation tapping, we want to get in touch with whatever feeling might be in a body around a thought or an emotion that we have. So you had a particular fear. You want to give me just a sentence or two about your fear?
Sure. I'm starting my own business. I've got, you know, a book coming out, and I'm launching a coaching business, and I've been working part-time to pay the bills. And at the end of this year, in just 6 weeks, I'm going to be quitting that job, and I feel like I'm cutting that cord of, you know, my safety net. And my gut is telling me all signs point to yes, but still I feel this paralyzing fear that I'd really like to let go of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and why don't you close your eyes and just drop into your body and go ahead and feel that fear. You're cutting that cord, your safety net. In just a few weeks, no more part-time job. Is there a place in your body that you experience that fear?
Yeah, actually, it's like right underneath where my heart is, right here.
Okay. And on a scale of 0 to 10, how strong is that?
At least it's like an 8.
Okay. So go ahead and start tapping the top of the head. You can keep your eyes closed if you want.
Okay.
Because I want you to continue to focus on your body. And we're going to work on this fear just from that feeling of sensation. So you said it was right there, sort of at your solar plexus?
It's like a brick, a lead brick that's like really long and takes up the whole space here.
Okay, great description. Tap on the eyebrow. And does it cause you pain? Does it have a feeling like heaviness or tingly?
Totally heavy, really heavy, paralyzingly heavy. Can't move.
Okay. Tap the outside of the eye. Now, the one thing I want you to do is don't actually try to change the brick. I just want you to notice it. You're just going to continue observing it as you tap. And if it starts to shift or change, I want you to let me know, but don't try to force it yourself, okay? Okay. So how big is this lead brick?
Well, it's like only a couple inches tall, but it's like 8 inches long and as wide as my body.
Okay. Tap onto the eye. Is there anything else you can tell me about it? You said it's lead. Does it have a color?
Yeah, it's dark gray, heavy, drab. yucky looking.
Tap under the nose. Does it have a smell or a taste to it?
If you were to get close to it, it'd probably smell like metal or something.
Okay.
Cold, hard.
Tap on the chin. Is it still exactly the same as when you started tapping, or has it changed? at
Well,
all?
actually, now that I said metal, it's kind of more metal-y, but it's still heavy and ugly.
Okay. Tap on the collarbone. What else can you tell me about that?
It's a little bit shiny.
Is it maintaining its size and shape and density?
Yeah, it's kind of floating, moving a little bit, like a seesaw.
Okay. Tap under the arm. And just repeat after me. I have this dark gray lead brick in my solar plexus.
I have a dark gray lead brick in my solar plexus.
Tap the top of the head. All that fear is being stored in my solar plexus.
All that fear is being stored in my solar plexus.
Keep watching that brick. Tap on the eyebrow point. As you continue to tap, just observe the brick. Tap the outside of the eye. Is it still the same?
It's a slightly skinnier,
From top to bottom or side to side?
like thickness, width.
Okay. Tap under the eye. Just observe it. Is it staying the same or changing still?
It's moving quite a bit.
Okay.
It's still the same size. It seems to maybe not have lost its lightness, but there's something around it that's able to move it,
Okay.
which I didn't know about that it could move before.
Okay. Tap under the nose. Is it moving as though it's controlled by something or like it's floating on water?
Like there's a force in there that can get rid of it if the force gets strong enough.
Okay. Tap on the chin. What else?
It's wobbly. It's not as before. It felt like heavy, stable, immobile, and now it's like uncertain. It's wobbly in there. Still kind of big and stuff, but wobbly.
Okay. Tap on the collarbone. What else can you tell me about that?
It's the same.
Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to change for you to continue to describe it.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's like the way that it's moving, kind of unsteady. It's almost like the way that it would be floating if it was in the ocean, those unpredictable waves, the way that it kind of floats on top of those. It's moving in an unpredictable way.
Fear does that sometimes.
You know it does.
Tap under the arm. Is it still moving? More? Less?
More.
More?
More wobbly, more, you realize even though it's heavy, it's not as serious as you think it is.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, even though how heavy it is, you know, because if you were to throw a piece of real heavy metal in the ocean would still have its way with it. So it doesn't really matter how big it is if the force around it can, you know, just kind of get rid of it or play with it how it likes to.
Are you really aware of a force around it now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
What's that force like?
Well, it's very moving, and it's way stronger than the metal. It's fluid, though. It's not stiff like the metal.
Top of the head. Is there a color to that force?
Not yet.
Okay. Would you describe it as energy or force? Or?
Yeah, it's like the energy. The best way I can say it is like how the ocean waves are. Totally powerful, but still it's only just water, but even so, it's very powerful.
Tap the eyebrow. And what's happening with that lead bar now?
Okay. Well, it flipped over. That was new. So it flipped over so that oceany force is playing with it almost. Yeah.
Tap the outside of the eye. Does it feel as heavy to you?
No. Oh my gosh, it's so not very heavy at all. It's almost like hilarious how heavy I thought it was.
Tap under the eye. Does it feel like it's got the same, it felt almost ominous before, like it had a power over
Yeah,
you.
I kind of forgot, but yeah, it did.
And now it doesn't seem to have that. It's almost like you're laughing at it.
No, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like cute how strong I thought it was or something.
Tap under the nose. Anything else about it? Is it still the same size and shape, though?
Yeah, but the force around it's gotten like totally way bigger, so it seems smaller in comparison.
Okay. Tap on the chin. Anything else about the scene for now?
No, just that it's getting smaller in the perspective, and the force is, is quite obviously very bigger,
Okay.
very much bigger.
Stop tapping. Take a deep breath. Now, when you look at that fear, how does your fear look now?
I got so caught up in that object, I forgot that it really was the fear. But I really, it feels like there is a force inside of me that's way stronger than that. And it doesn't have to, as long as I keep that growing and strengthening and in motion, the weight of that fear is nothing compared to the strength around it.
Great, great. You can do a lot of different things with a fear. You can use any of the different tapping techniques on it to play with it. It might end up shrinking of its own accord, or it might be that, again, you go through a day and you look for the fear and you can't find it. It's disappeared into the ocean of the force. I don't know if that will happen or not. It's something to continue to play with, but already you can feel the level of fear in you feels completely different.
Yeah.
It's like I'm no longer a victim of my fear.
Yeah. It's like I felt like I was underneath it before. It was this overpowering force, and now I'm kind of looking down and I have that perspective of it being much smaller.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I was going to say that energy is your high self. So when you're looking down on it, that makes total sense. That is your essence, which is much bigger than any fear that can ever stop you. Good job.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Firm stand tapping is great for clearing out the resistance to an affirmation. It looks a little like an argument. We're going to alternate our affirmation with all of the reasons why we can't achieve that or it doesn't feel true.
You may need to do a number of rounds of tapping before the affirmation feels 100% true. Here's a hint. Use a choice statement for your affirmation because it's easier to have that feel true. You can always choose a certain thing in the given moment. So, for example, rather than saying, I am this way, you can say, I choose to be this way. You don't want to speak very quickly as you're doing this technique because you're looking for the feeling of the affirmation and then the feeling of the objection to the affirmation. So don't just say the words, feel how true they feel to you. Firm stand tapping is a great technique for discovering all the different aspects of an issue. As you speak the affirmation and new objections occur to you, you can even jot them down. So at the end, you can make sure they've all been taken care of. You can even switch to another tapping method if you find an objection that you'd like to work on with a different method. We're going to demonstrate this now with Bob. First, you'll see that we did firm stand tapping with him. What he thought was his issue was not truly his issue. And that came out during the firm stand tapping. So we stopped the firm stand and we went into an SOS tapping routine to clear the challenges to him moving ahead in creating his new business. Now, Bob is a beautiful man. He's a very wonderful physician who's now creating a job as a speaker to help other doctors live their lives more powerfully. And he is very low key, but you'll notice that he's got a lot of strong emotion stopping him from moving forward. And then it all transforms into ease and to emotions that he'd much rather feel. So let's watch.
Bob, I want to work on that question that you had using the firm stand tapping technique. So would you give me that question again, and then we can sort of take it apart and put it into the tapping?
Sure. So the question that I'm trying to work through is, how do I most effectively share my message with the people that I'm trying to reach so that they can experience the transformation that I'm trying to help them with.
Great, great. And you're a physician and a speaker. And here's the thing, because we talked, and I know that you actually have a fear around this, I'm going to suggest that it's not a question, that it's actually a statement that we like to phrase as a question. So we like to say something like, how could I ever do this? Or how can I effectively communicate? When in fact the fear is, I can't effectively communicate. You may have a question as well. You know, intellectually you're working on the question, but the fear is that I can't do it. Does that ring true for you?
That feels right.
Yeah. So on a scale of 0 to 10, when you really sink into the fear, because I know you've done a lot of work and intellectually you've got it up here. When you sink into the fear, how strong is it?
It's getting higher as I think about it.
That often happens when we tune in.
Yeah. I think that fear is probably somewhere around a 7, 8.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of fear on many things, but with this one, it's kind of focusing, and I think it's probably a 7, 8.
Yeah, because this is everything you want to do. I mean, it's your mission in life and it's your financial future as well, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So with firm stand tapping, what we do is we take a statement that you'd like to believe emotionally, and you're going to state that every other tapping point, and in between, you're going to shift from that to sort of what the little voice is saying or what you're really feeling inside. So let's craft a statement that you'd like to believe. What would you say based on that fear? What would you say the opposite of that is? What you really want to embrace emotionally?
That I'm completely effective at sharing my message and helping people achieve a transformation.
Beautiful. Okay. I am completely effective at sharing my message and helping people achieve transformation. Is that it? Beautiful. I love it. Okay. And so when you say that, how true does that statement probably feels true in one sense. It's like, yes, yes, I love that. And it resonates with you. And then there's that fear of a 7 that you can't. Right?
Well, I know that when I'm connecting with people and sharing, that's happened. So I know what it feels like to have it happen, to be there. But my success in moving forward is dependent on doing that for many people. So and they're a group. I'm working with physicians and healthcare providers that I find sometimes tough to receive messages that are outside the box for them.
Okay, so actually what I'm going to suggest is, this is great, and as we do the firm stand tapping, this will probably come up. This is one aspect of it. Part of it is, am I a completely effective communicator, or I'm not? And the other part is, and can they receive the message? Do you see those as two different aspects?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So let's start the firm stand tapping, and we may run through multiple aspects of this, all right?
Okay.
So we start here, and you start by stating that beautiful affirmation, I am a completely effective communicator.
I am a completely effective communicator.
Finish it.
And I'm a completely effective communicator, sharing my message and helping people experience a transformation.
Great. Tap the eyebrow. Now, what's in the way? What's not true with regard to that statement?
That I am not able to effectively communicate my message.
Okay. Tap the outside of the eye. State the affirmation again.
I am a completely effective communicator at sharing my message.
Great. Tap under the eye. Okay. And what's in the way of that? What fear or doubt comes up when you say that? It may be that that's baloney, or it may be, or I have doubts, or what actually comes up for you?
That I'm not able to really that I'm not able to articulate. I'm not able to share. That I'm not able to reach the people that I'm trying to reach.
Okay, good. Tap under the nose. I am a completely effective, go ahead.
I am completely effective at communicating my message and helping people experience transformation.
Beautiful. On the chin, okay? What's the doubt?
Right now, I'm just seeing an empty room that I don't have people to share it with.
Great, okay. Can you see how this is bringing up all the concerns and the fears and the different aspects?
I do, yeah.
Tap on the collarbone, say your affirmation again.
I am completely effective at communicating my message and helping people experience a transformation.
Beautiful. Tap under the arm. What's up? Is it still the empty room or is it something else?
Now I was envisioning myself on the phone speaking to an empty line.
Tap the top of the head, say your affirmation again.
I am completely effective at communicating my message and helping people experience transformation.
Tap the eyebrow. What comes up?
That's not true,
Okay. Why not?
because I actually believe that I can communicate effectively.
Tap the outside of the eye. Make your statement, positive statement again.
I'm completely effective at communicating my message and helping people experience a transformation.
Great. Tap under the eye. Doubts, fears, what comes up?
I'm still coming back to that. That there aren't enough people present to actually hear the message.
Okay, great. So stop tapping, take a deep breath. So here's what we've done with this, because at this point, to continue with firm stand tapping, we'd actually have to shift the affirmation. Your affirmation was, I'm a completely effective communicator, which was one fear that you had. Now, I'm going to actually suggest that that fear has diminished or gone away, that you can communicate your message. But three other things have come up in its place. One is, I can't get to enough people. They won't. The other is, another is that I don't know if these people actually want my message. And then when you saw an empty room and an empty telephone line. To me, those are two separate things, which is why I said three. So you have to look at what are those fears and concerns, and you might come up with another affirmation and then go through firm stand, or use one of the other techniques at that point. But do you see how those have shifted now? It's shifted.
It seems to me there's something here too about enrolling people to even show up, getting them to come, or getting someone to hire you as a speaker, being able to convince that person that allows you to even get in front of the room. Is that true?
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think part of, I was having some concerns and doubts about the effectiveness of the message, of being able to articulate the message. But as we went through this, I recognized that's not it.
Sometimes what a tapping routine will tell you is that what you thought was the fear is not actually the fear. And now you can go in and work on what actually is bothering you. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Since the firm stand tapping brought up some other issues that feel like they're much more important to you than the issue that we started with, why don't we go in and see what we can do with another tapping technique and removing that bigger issue that has surfaced. So how would you describe that? What you're now seeing as, wow, that's really the crux of the problem.
Well, to me, it feels like the problem that I'm encountering now is being able to really effectively get in front of the right audience, the people who are meant and will benefit from hearing my message.
So let me ask you, is that a knowledge issue or is that a fear issue? Because it might be just, I don't know what my ideal audience is, or it might be, I need to discover ways of getting in front of audiences. Those are just knowledge issues. Or is there actually a concern, a fear, or a limiting belief around it?
It's a combination, and I know that there is some knowledge that I'm working on getting, and working with people who are in that arena to help with that. It's a process. I think there's also a bit of a fear around putting my offer out there.
Yes.
To physicians, for example, to being able to say, I can help you. At the heart of it, I want them to be able to experience the kind of total acceptance and a joy for life that I do.
Yes.
It's that, and then to share that, to pass that on to the people that are in their life that they influence. So to be able to make that offer is uncomfortable.
What's uncomfortable about it? What do you fear will happen when you make that offer?
They'll say, no, I don't need that. That's ridiculous. Who are you? Or who are you to tell me how I should be living my life?
Okay. And when you think, they're going to say, who are you to tell me that? What's the emotion that accompanies that thought?
Well, one emotion is disappointment, partly for them, if I know that they're not living in alignment or living joyfully. But also, I guess it's disappointment. And I don't think the word embarrassment came to mind, but if I'm putting it out there authentically, really genuinely, then it's just disappointment. I'm not going to have a chance to work with that person, and I'm disappointed about that.
Okay, so we can work on the disappointment, but I'm going to suggest that you not discard the embarrassment quite so quickly. Because I find that when something flashes into our mind, often we can push it away and say, well, that's silly, or no, I've got a belief that overcomes that. But if it comes up, there's probably something there. It may not be a very serious something, it might be a 4 or 5, but there's probably something there. Okay? So when you say disappointment, so I want you to actually close your eyes and really visualize this. I want to visualize somebody saying to you, I don't need that. Who are you to tell me how to live my life? Is it disappointment or is it something else?
I guess I think it's a combination. I think it's not a pure disappointment. It is a bit of disappointment and discouragement.
Discouragement.
That's
Yes.
the word.
Right.
Yeah, it's not embarrassment.
Like,
it's discouragement. It's like,
this isn't going to work. I'm not going to be successful at this.
It's so much easier just to save people's lives, and having a heart attack than to try to do this work, which I feel has such an ability to make a bigger impact and transformation.
Okay.
We'll keep you alive so you can still suffer some more.
So let's see what we can do about that. So this discouragement, disappointment, discouragement. How strong does that feel, 0 to 10, when you visualize that?
It feels like a 10. I mean, it feels like a 10
Okay.
to have that happen.
Let's try some SOS tapping. Let's see if there's another way to get to that. Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
So just simple. We start with simple tapping when we have a level 10. I feel really discouraged.
I feel really discouraged.
When I think about someone saying no.
When I think about someone saying no.
When I think about a doctor saying no.
When I think about a doctor saying no.
To working with me.
To working with me.
To opening himself up to living in joy.
To opening himself up to living in joy.
I feel so discouraged.
I feel so discouraged.
Because that's the work I want to do.
Because that's the work I want to do.
That's the difference I want to make in the world.
That's the difference I want to make in the world.
And the thought that someone would say no is very discouraging.
And the thought that someone would say no is very discouraging.
I don't know how to get rid of this discouragement.
I don't know how to get rid of this discouragement.
I want them to stop saying no.
I want them to stop saying no.
It feels discouraging to think of them saying no.
It feels discouraging to think of them saying no.
It feels easier to just save lives.
It feels easier to just save lives.
And so discouraging if they say no.
And so discouraging if they say no.
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 Take a deep breath. Is the discouragement still a 10, or has it shifted at all?
It seems less. It's having
Speaking it?
verbalized it, speaking it. Yeah, so it feels 7, 8.
Okay. That's a low enough number that we can probably add an open choice. So we're going to tap here, karate
Okay.
tap point,
Okay.
And see if we can start creating some opening for something other than discouragement. Even though I'm still feeling that discouragement,
Even though I'm still feeling that discouragement,
I'm open to feeling something different.
I'm open to feeling something different.
Even though I'm still feeling a little discouraged at that thought,
Even though I'm still feeling a little discouraged at that thought,
I'm open to an empowering new interpretation.
I'm open to an empowering new interpretation.
Even though I'm still feeling a little discouraged,
Even though I'm still feeling a little discouraged,
I'm ready for a new exciting thought.
I'm ready for a new exciting thought.
I'm still a little discouraged.
I'm still a little discouraged.
I don't know if I'm going to like the nose anytime soon.
I don't doubt I'm going to like the nose anytime soon.
No is a discouraging word to hear.
No is a discouraging word to hear.
I would feel discouraged if people didn't respond to my message.
I would feel discouraged if people didn't respond to my message.
I'm still a little discouraged at that idea.
I'm still a little discouraged at that idea.
And I'm afraid that not everyone's going to be open to my message.
And I'm afraid that not everyone's going to be open to my message.
But I am open to something else.
But I am open to something else.
I'm open to finding a new way to look at this.
I'm open to finding a new way to look at this.
Because I'm not sure that discouragement
Because I'm not sure that discouragement
is really an emotion that's going to serve my mission.
is really an emotion that's going to serve my mission.
I'm open to finding a new thought.
I'm open to finding a new thought.
I'm open to finding a new feeling.
I'm open to finding a new feeling.
I'm open to finding a new way of processing those no's.
I'm open to finding a new way of processing the no's.
A new way of standing in the world.
A new way of standing in the world.
Take a deep breath. How's the discouragement?
It's more tenuous because I'm anticipating replacing it.
Okay, good.
So yeah, it doesn't feel as solid. It doesn't feel as real. It's it kind of feels
shifting?
a shift in it.
Starting to move. So can you give it a number? Yes.
It feels kind of like it's creeped down a little bit further. So it's interesting. It almost doesn't feel real.
Great.
But if it is real,
If it were real.
if it were real, it would be like a 4 or 5.
Okay.
I think,
All right.
because it doesn't. But the fact that it almost feels like it's sort of, that it could just kind of slip away
Right, at any time.
At any time.
Right.
But if I'm kind of anticipating being able to replace it.
Okay.
You know what
Right, I get it. And let's see if we can help it shift a little further.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, great.
So 4 or 5 is low enough for us to add a specific choice in. So if there was another thought or emotion, another thought you could think, another emotion that you could feel when someone says no, what would it be?
Compassion.
That's a wonderful word for you.
To realize that they may just not be at the right place. That it's not me. It's not my message. It's that they're not ready to make a shift, and that the right person will be coming
For them.
for them and for me. That it's just as it's meant to be, I guess. So
Right.
acceptance, compassion.
Compassion, acceptance. Okay. Let's see if we can put those in.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. Even though I might have some discouragement left,
No, I might have some discouragement left.
not even sure if it's real,
It may not even be real.
I'm open to feeling compassion and acceptance instead.
I'm open to feeling compassion and acceptance instead.
Even though I'm not sure I still have any discouragement.
Even though I'm not sure I still have any discouragement,
I might if it comes up.
I might if it comes up.
I choose to find a way to stand in compassion and acceptance.
I choose to find a way to stand in compassion and acceptance.
Even though I might someday experience some discouragement,
Even though I might someday experience some discouragement,
I choose to find a way to believe
I choose to find a way to believe
it's all exactly as it should be.
it's all exactly as it should be.
I'm still a little concerned about discouragement.
I'm still a little concerned about discouragement.
I mean, after all, when I get in front of someone
After all, when I get in front of someone
who actually says no,
who actually says no,
I might feel a little discouraged.
I might feel a little discouraged.
There might still be some of that there,
There might still be some of that there,
but I can see a new possibility now.
but I can see a new possibility now.
I love the thought of bringing compassion and acceptance.
I love the thought of bringing compassion and acceptance.
I love the thought that everything's exactly as it should be.
I love the thought that everything is exactly as it should be.
I choose to bring compassion and acceptance to those conversations.
I choose to bring compassion and acceptance to those conversations.
And know that the right person is there for that person and for me.
And know that the right person is there for that person and for me.
Take a deep breath. Now I want you to visualize someone saying, "Who do you think you are to tell me how to live my life?" What do you feel?
I feel fine.
Yeah.
I feel compassion. I feel acceptance and compassion.
And it doesn't mean anything about you.
It doesn't mean anything about me.
Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you. Wow, powerful.
You know, when you asked that question, I answered inside, someone who cares deeply about you. That's who I am.
Oh,
You
what a
know?
beautiful sentiment.
And I was just thinking, we did a book called Chicken Soup for the Writer's Soul, in which Barbara Kingsolver, who wrote the Poisonwood Bible and a number of other best-selling books, said, when you get a rejection letter from a publisher, it doesn't mean your book is no good. It means the person that will love your book doesn't live at this address. And so it's just a matter of you continuing to put out the message, and you're going to lock into lots of people who want it. It's just a matter of numbers.
I believe that, and thank you.
And now you can feel it.
Yeah,
Good for you.
wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
You know, perhaps the most important principle for creating success in your life is to take 100% responsibility for your life. But it's also one that many people struggle with. You know, resistance often comes from it's not my fault, I didn't create it. There's no way I possibly could have created that. They're the one that created that. If I take responsibility, then I'm going to be blaming myself. I'm going to feel guilty. I don't want to feel guilty. All these things start to come up when we talk about taking 100% responsibility. And yet, I think it's the most single, powerful, important principle. That's why I put it number 1 in my book, The Success Principles.
In the book, we've outlined 3 possible ways to look at taking 100% responsibility. One is claiming responsibility in order to learn from an experience. Another is what Jack calls inverse paranoia, claiming responsibility and saying, maybe the universe is conspiring for my good. So when you claim responsibility, you empower yourself by taking responsibility. And the third way to look at it is claiming responsibility for your response to an event or a situation in your life.
So whatever your obstacles may be to the idea of taking 100% responsibility for your life, I encourage you to consider how much more powerful you'll be when you do. You know, when you take 100% responsibility, you start going, well, if I created that, or I promoted that, or I allowed that, maybe I better look to see how I did that. You know, if your situation is like your wife left you and you're going, well, how did I create that? You're not going to find anything new that you can do to improve your next relationship. But if you say, well, if my wife left me, maybe I did create that. How did I do that? Oh, I didn't come home on time. When she'd ask me to open up and be vulnerable, I didn't. I'd be sarcastic and make a joke. I never really spent time in intimate conversation. You're going to start finding things that you can use to improve your relationships in the future. And if you don't take 100% responsibility, you're going to feel like a victim, and you're going to keep recreating the same responses over and over, which is going to give you the same outcomes over and over, and that's not what you want.
One of the challenges is, though, when you're trying to take 100% responsibility like that, again, you can come up with feelings of blame or guilt, and you can come up with just resistance to that idea. We're going to use tapping to overcome that resistance. We're going to see this now in a tapping demonstration with Erin. So Erin was interested in taking 100% responsibility for her life. She'd heard about the concept, but she was experiencing some health challenges and hadn't gotten confirmation on what it was about, and so she had a lot of resistance to the idea. She was afraid for a number of different reasons. We cleared that in the tapping, and she told me a couple of weeks after that actually she had found out what the health challenge was, but because we had done the tapping, she was able to face it much more positively. She felt much more in control, and she's able to work with it more powerfully now.
That's great.
Yeah. So let's watch.
So I want to work with you, Erin, on taking 100% responsibility for your life. It's a scary concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little scary. It makes me a little nervous.
Okay. So let's talk about what would be in the way of you embracing that emotionally. Because we can embrace it intellectually and say, yes, you know, I know that I can be 100% responsible, or I want to be, but really embracing that idea emotionally. What would get in your way of doing that?
Well, for me, it's been a part of my value system for a long time that I just let things happen, come what may, and I figure I'll deal with it, I'll handle it, it'll be fine. A lot of acceptance, a lot of, you know, working around things. And so it's a whole new way of looking at things to become 100% personally responsible for everything instead of just letting things wash over me.
Right. It makes you more the creator and less the victim.
Less the victim, less the standby.
Right. So does that feel like a place that you'd like to go emotionally?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So besides the fact that that has been your modus operandi, that's your ordinary way of doing things, is there anything, when you think of saying, I am 100% responsible for my life, what comes up for you? Are there thoughts that disagree with that? Are there emotions in the way?
There are some. And, you know, one of them is that I have a health challenge that I kind of feel a little bit out of control of. And so that just feels, you know, I don't know how I can be personally responsible for that when I don't really know what's going on with it. Then there's all of the, you know, other people and outside forces in my life that, you know, certainly I can't control them. I have no idea what's going to happen there. And so how do you become personally responsible? Well, you know, interacting with other people.
And that's a great question. So I want to distinguish, and then I'm going to ask Jack to chime in, on the difference between control and responsibility.
Okay.
Because, for example, if you were the manager of 50 people in an organization, you might have responsibility for all of their actions, but you certainly couldn't control everything that they did. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So looking at it that way, could you see the possibility, again, intellectually if not emotionally, of taking responsibility even though you don't have control?
Yeah.
And that may feel uncomfortable. It may not feel like a good idea.
Yeah, sometimes it seems a little,
Why would I take responsibility for all of these people that I can't control, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So why would you take responsibility, Jack?
Well, when you take responsibility for the results that you produce in your life and for the things that show up in your life, then it gives you the opportunity to look at the question, how did I create that or promote it, or did I allow it to continue? I mean, we see a lot of people in the feminist movement who say, if I call you a girl, you're going to just nod, or you're going to say, wait, I'm a woman. So you can allow mistreatment or abuse to go on, or you can stand up to it. And also to look at, are there things that I do that promote or create my situation? In other words, if I go into a bar and I yell at someone, you're an idiot, then I'm probably going to get into a fight. Then I can't claim that I was a victim because the guy hit me for no reason. So there's all kinds of things on that level. And then the third level is with your thoughts. We are always creating, by what we're expecting, by the images we hold in our brain of what's going to show up, by focusing on what we want versus what we don't want. Most people spend their time talking about current reality and think, blaming, complaining, talking about it. They think they're just simply analyzing it. But when you talk about it, you're actually creating more of it in the future through the law of attraction. So we're creating on levels that some of us are not even aware of. But when you become aware, you can start asking yourself, I don't know what your medical condition is, but you can ask myself, well, if I did create it, what might have I done? Did I eat too acidic a diet? Did I not go to the doctor the first time I had an intuition that maybe something was wrong? Yeah. Did I talk to enough people? Did I drink only, purified water and eat organic food? There's a lot of things you can begin to look at there. And that gives you an opportunity to uncreate and recreate the life you want.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's one more level yet of interpretation. Sure. There are many, many, but one of the others is just accepting responsibility in order to empower yourself. So even if you haven't quite figured out why you might have created it, if, for example, I say, I created this situation, I don't like it right now, but I created it, then I have the power to create something else. So just in the declaration itself, even without, in a sense, you're taking responsibility and some of that control back, at least in a feeling. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now, all of this talking is very good, but to get there emotionally, we know we're going to have to tap, right? Okay, so let's look at emotionally what's in the way of you embracing that belief.
Fear. I mean, I'm afraid of what it means to take personal responsibility. I'm afraid of changing the status quo, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. Thank you. And tell me more about the fear. So when you say I'm afraid of taking personal responsibility, what are you afraid will happen? What are you afraid that will look like?
I'm afraid it's going to be hard, that it's going to take a lot of effort and that it will take a lot of energy and a lot of management.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
And that's something you don't have time, space for in your life?
That I like to minimize the amount of, difficulty of things.
Well, that makes sense. Why would I take something on that's really difficult, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
How strong is that fear, 0 to 10?
It's coming up at about an 8. Like it's giving me that clinchy feeling.
Okay. So we could do this we have all these different tapping techniques. We could do this in so many different ways, right? We could go into the little voice if it's a little voice telling you no. If it's a sensation of fear, we could do sensation tapping. I'm kind of getting the feeling that we might want to, again, use SOS tapping on this and start and replace it with a different belief because this is very much.
Yeah.
Okay? Does
Sure.
that work for you? All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is just do some simple tapping to see if we can reduce the intensity of it. And I'm going to ask you to tap here and start telling me about the fear. I'm really afraid to take 100% responsibility.
I'm afraid to take 100% responsibility because I'm afraid it's going to be hard, and I'm afraid it's going to require constant attention and vigilance and take away from my power to be present in my life, that I'll always have to pay attention to the responsibility and not really what's happening in my life.
Oh, beautiful, really well said. I'm afraid being responsible means I won't be present.
I'm afraid being responsible means I won't be present.
It's going to be a lot of hard work.
It's going to be a lot of hard work.
It's going to take all this attention.
It's going to take all this attention.
I won't be able to be present to what's happening
I won't be able to be present to what's happening
because I'm always going to be worried about taking responsibility.
because I'm always going to be worried about taking responsibility.
I'm going to turn myself into the boss of the world,
I'm going to turn myself into the boss of the world,
having to be responsible for everything.
having to be responsible for everything.
And that doesn't sound like much fun.
And that doesn't sound like much fun.
Why on earth would I do this?
Why on earth would I do this?
This sounds hard.
This sounds hard.
Does it have to be hard?
Does it have to be hard?
Is there a way it wouldn't have to be hard?
Is there a way that it wouldn't have to be hard?
Would it really have to destroy my presence?
Would it really have to destroy my presence?
That's what I think,
That's what I think.
but would it have to be so?
But would it have to be so?
I'm really afraid it'll be hard.
I'm afraid it'll be hard.
Stop tapping, take a deep breath. Where's the fear? Because it doesn't feel like it's quite as high now.
It's not. Like, I couldn't actually say really that second time.
Okay. I want you to go in and actually try to find it.
Yeah, it's about a 4.
Okay. So in this case, I'm actually going to skip the open choice because we've already dropped to a 4. But let me ask you, do you have a specific choice that you'd like to make in this case? If not, we might do an open choice just to find one.
I don't have a specific choice. It was just that the asking why really opened up the possibility that there were other possibilities.
It doesn't have to be hard.
Right,
Yeah. Okay.
right.
So let's create the possibility that it could be easy.
That seems simple enough.
Yeah, and since being present is something that you're very concerned about, can we create the possibility that being 100% responsible and being present actually go more together than not?
Sure.
Does that sound like a good
Yeah.
interpretation? Okay. Because every time we're working with a specific choice and getting you to step into a new belief, I always want to make sure it's resonating with you. I don't want to impose one of my beliefs on you. Make sense?
Yeah, easy and present sounds really good.
Okay, so let's tap here. Even though I'm still a little afraid
Even though I'm still a little afraid
of claiming 100% responsibility for my life,
of claiming 100% responsibility for my life,
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that it could be easy
that it could be easy
and I could be even more present,
and I could be even more present,
even though I'm still a little afraid
even though I'm still a little afraid
of taking 100% responsibility for my life.
of taking 100% responsibility for my life.
I would love to create
I would love to create
that I could be even more present
that I could be even more present
and do it easily,
and do it easily.
even though I'm still a little afraid.
Even though I'm still a little afraid,
I choose to find a way
I choose to find a way
to make it both easy
to make it both easy
and enhancing my ability to be present.
and enhancing my ability to be present.
Tap here. I'm still a little afraid.
I'm still a little afraid.
This is a big change for me.
This is a big change for me.
Here I am stepping into 100% responsibility,
Here I am stepping into 100% responsibility,
and I don't even know what's going to happen.
and I don't even know what's going to happen.
This is a big deal,
This is a big deal,
and it might be hard.
and it might be hard.
But what I'd really love
But what I'd really love
is to find a way to make it easy.
is to find a way to make it easy.
What if I don't even have to make it easy?
What if I don't even have to make it easy?
What if it's actually easy to do?
What if it's actually easy to do?
After all, there's no second guessing.
After all, there's no second guessing.
100% responsibility is 100%.
100% responsibility is 100%.
I don't have to wonder whether I created something or not.
I don't have to wonder whether I created something or not.
I just know I did.
I just know I did.
And then I have to find a way to respond.
And then I have to find a way to respond.
But I'm good at that already.
But I'm good at that already.
And then I need to be present.
And then I need to be present.
And if I claim 100% responsibility,
And if I claim 100% responsibility,
then I am present in every moment
then I am present in every moment
because I'm the one creating that moment.
because I'm the one creating that moment.
So I choose to consider
So I choose to consider
that claiming 100% responsibility
that claiming 100% responsibility
is easy
is easy
and leaves me more present to enjoy the world.
and leaves me more present to enjoy the world.
Take a deep breath. How do you feel about claiming 100% responsibility for your life?
Much better than I did a few minutes ago.
Do you feel like, are you open now to the belief that it could be easy and that could enhance your presence?
Yeah, that it could be easy, that it's really possible, and that it's not so heavy with meaning, that it's more natural.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, the word responsibility has a lot of baggage with it because what happens is when we're a little kid, we're responsible to feed the dog. If we didn't do it, we're responsible for our little brother if he makes a mess when we're babysitting. And then, people are blamed for things. And it's not about blame. It's not about the heaviness of some weight on you. It really means that you're responsible for your life, means that you have the capacity to choose to create whatever you want. And that's actually freeing. That lifts a weight. Like that somehow I'm a victim of everything around me. The fact is I am someone that can actually step up and create a change that fulfills my life in a way I want it to be. And as she said, it gives you a sense of presence that you so desperately want to have and not lose. It'll actually increase that. So you did a great job of choosing to be responsible, which simply means the ability to respond. And you have to be present to do that. So they go together, and you're going to find that there's a lot of lightness that's going to show up. Talked about easy and present. You're going to have that.
Yay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great work.
Thank you.
So as you've seen in this video, tapping is a very powerful technique, and it's one that you can use on your own. However, if you're working with a serious trauma or chronic issues, we suggest you get the help of a tapping practitioner. And you can find a list of resources on our website. We also have a special gift for you there at tappingintoultimatesuccess.com.
What we've covered with you today is just the beginning of what's possible with powerful techniques like tapping. You've seen in the demonstrations how people can make shifts in moments from fearful, from upset, from angry, to compassionate, to loving, to caring, and to feeling good about themselves. We encourage you to experiment, to be persistent. It's often said in the tapping community, try it on everything, because your ultimate success is too important. The difference that you make in the world, the contribution that you are, can be brought out when you tap into your ultimate success.